Hey YouTube, I'm 5 minutes early. I was away seeing Caravan last night, so I'm going to try and play. Bad start. Yeah, that's total failure. I totally lost it. Hey, how's it going, Pontiac and Daniel and Scott? Yeah, probably better not catching me trying to play Caravan. I was away seeing Caravan last night. Got my In the Land of Green pink signed poster. It's obviously one of the best albums ever made. I was looking at this actually. Mine's actually limited edition at 500. This is a remastered one, which is a double album. Yeah, so I went to see them and they were awesome. I wasn't that drunk either. I think maybe it was a bit different. The last time I've been to see them, me and my pal Peg generally got pure tanked up. So it was moderately sober. And they played nearly the whole album. They played all the ones that we used to play. And the Blind Dogs actually used to be in a Caravan tribute band. So back on the bucket this week. Cheers. If I start feeling too drunk, I've got a can of cider there I'm going to go into. But I did have a wee half buck last night. Lovely. Yay. Yeah, so I dug this out for I was doing a video with Scott. He's got yesterday. Day before yesterday, Friday. And I looked this out because it kind of reminded me of the Ibanez Blazer, only in the fact that the pickups look very similar and the bridge is very similar as well. But this is a really nice guitar. I keep finding it every 6 months and getting out, and it's brilliant. This is an SC400. It's normally it says so on the truss rod cover, but this is either it seems to fit, so I don't know whether someone's made it. I actually looked to make sure it wasn't just turned upside down, but it should say SC400 on it. 3 massive pickups with a coil tap, not like a triple coil tap, so you've got like a low output and a high output. Pick up, I turned off the distortion. I know the sound's not really very good, and the live stream, so you're not going to hear it, but I go clean, you'll probably hear it maybe. That's it, low power. And high power. And we actually measured the pickups. I'm going to put this first pedal back on again. It's more fun. And my Ibanez Blazer has in the manual or in the brochure says these are the most powerful single coil pickups you can get. And I know the ohms rating is just resistance, it's not actually power, but they were coming in at was it 6 point something, and then Scotch Roaster came in at 7 point something. These are 9, and if you split them, they're down like 5.5. So these are kind of more like a P90, maybe. Definitely seem to be super powerful. There's problems every time I dig out a guitar like this. It's one of those ones, it's kind of like the one Scott just now. I've got a Roadstar 2, an RG 530, and basically Scott wouldn't leave without it. I'm like, no, this should be much, you know, it's like, this isn't set up right. And it's like, to be honest, I got it before I really knew how to fix guitars, and it works. So I kind of left it, and I thought that the original Floyd Roses were meant to sit flat in the body, because it was when I got it. So I just assumed it's down bend only, but no, apparently it can be sorted. So he's been working on that the last couple of days. So cheers, looking forward to getting that back. This one I kind of class similar to it. It's one of those ones where it's not super weird. It's quite a sort of standard guitar, but it's just like a slightly something a bit mad. This one, it's the shape. It's kind of, it looks an awful lot madder than it is. It kind of feels a bit like an Explorer, see, because the headstock's really long and angled back, and because it doesn't have this bit, it feels like an Explorer, even though it clearly, maybe a little bit of this bit here, maybe a little bit Explorer-y. Hey Buster, how's it going? I'm going to be playing some bass in a minute. I was going to put a rhythm track down with this or something. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got a new concept bass which I'm going to unveil tonight, which I have actually done a video for, but I never put it out. I've not fully worked out what it is it's doing yet. What am I trying to do here? I'm going to put that down and play something. Clean! No, more. But the split, not split, the tap sound is a very acoustic. Oh, this leads to my head end. I'm sitting on top of the buttons with it. Less volume. Less volume then. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about drinking. Hey Craig, how's it going? Just winging it, drinking along as usual. Playing a Yamaha, which doesn't get played enough. Needs to be getting moved into the use more often file, especially now I'm at the time, I think I did take it into the band Cracking House once, but at the time I wasn't sure whether I needed humbuckers or not. Now I'm quite happy with single coils, so it's been fine. Hey Jess, how's it going? Blacktooth Fox, his I think he might be here, so you can call him a bastard if you want. His laptop's broken, and he's currently be able to watch YouTube on his girlfriend's Kindle or something like that. But apparently you can't see the chat and you can't sign into the chat. So he's still there. He's still commenting on my videos. It's like I can't email him or anything like that. Need to get himself a laptop of some sort. I don't know anything about them. or a phone perhaps. Yeah, so I'll move on to the new bass, which is hanging behind me, which is a new concept that I'm really quite pleased with. It kind of had some accidents in it, but it turned out to be very nice accidents. I'm very happy with it. I need to do a little bit of fanciness, so I need to unplug one thing and plug something else in. So I need to take this lead here, which I managed to tangle up, even though I only put it there 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I never do these things live on air. It should be so simple. As soon as it's a different colour from all the other leads, they're all black. Yeah, so that goes into the drum pedal. And that goes into here. Yep. And then this one goes into the top. Yay! So we've got flawless. Yeah, so this is this is an Ashton P Bass. It's got a tuner in it, which I should probably make sure it's in tune. It's in tune enough. Yeah, so volume and tone is a P Bass. It's got two outputs though, one on the top and one on the bottom, so it does two things. What I really wanted to do was make it so that you just basically had two outputs and you could just use either one and use it as a normal bass. That sort of worked. And then the other one was I was going to split the top two strings going into that amp and then the bottom two strings going into that amp, so that it's stereo, which does actually work. So I'll put fuzz on the, I did this before with the Ivers bass, so that's got fuzz on it and that's in bass mode. So yeah, so you can kind of, which you can't hear going like that. But the other thing it does is when you're in mono mode, the voice, I've got it plugged into both amps just now, right? So between 0 and 1/2 on the bass, on the volume control, which is centered indented, it turns up the bass. Yeah, so you got like a volume control and basically it's just running like a normal bass. When you go above 5 though, it starts bringing in the guitar amp as well. Turn it down and get back to clean, which you kind of didn't mean. Hey, Western Garage, morning 2 Australia. Probably 10 past 8 in the morning, since it's 10 past 8 at night here. Yeah, so this has turned out remarkably well. I was going to, as soon as I got it, it was blue, so I thought it's going to be an iron brew bass, has to be. And I was thinking about building a scratch plate for it, but I tried a few mock-ups and cut them out of paper, they all looked rubbish. And I thought, no, what I want is a big orange stripe, because I bought Iron Brew's kind of blue with an orange stripe in the middle. Now it's stuck an Iron Brew label on the headstock. And then it's got the mad stereo thing. I really need to get the recording thing. I keep raving about it. My pal Scott wasn't very impressed with it. Everyone else that's heard it's laughed when you're doing the stereo thing. The volume control still up to 5 turns on the bass amp, and then it stays at full. Then you turn on the next one, it starts turning up the. No, I think I can make scratch plates pretty well. I've been making them out of the aluminium dirt bar stuff. Buster there, pinch from. I've got some left over from work, and I've been making stuff like that. It's quite difficult to work, but it looks pure amazing. It's just a case of when you've got a bass that doesn't have a scratch plate, you kind of don't want to ruin it, the shape of it. Some guitars look good with scratch plates, and some don't. I suppose you've really got to cut one out, set it on top, and see what it looks like first. I was actually thinking I was going to put like an orange scratch plate on this and then just maybe attach it with double-sided sellotape so you could just take it off if you didn't like it. Who's Lesh? Is that somebody? I don't think they'll have this particular design thing with the overdrive thing, because I don't think anyone would ever do that intentionally. The problem was it was having was when I was running it in mono mode, the volume control only turned down one half of the pickup, so the volume control didn't work for one of the outputs. So I just used a 2-track pot, you know, the one that's got like two. It's sitting there. Not anymore. Just got like 2 pots on top of each other, and then I just connected up the way I thought it would work, assuming that I could turn them both down. But this way, I didn't really realise it was going to turn them both down one at a time. And it's like that full bum, turn down the distortion until you get to half, and then you turn down the bass. So it still does the job. I bought that Tokai Firebird bass and wanted to play the iconic Beastie Boys Sabotage. Oh, I could probably manage that. Just remember that's budgie. It's very similar to that on it, but I can't remember how the Sabotage riff goes. That's really annoying. I did see them play that live at Inverary Castle, and they were amazing at it. It's so annoying me I can't remember that riff, because I played that budgie one. See if I played the Sabotage one first, it'd be fine, but no, I've still got that budgie one going. It's pure light, it's like that though. This is a ladder. It's very like a budgie riff though, which is throw me off. Right after the end, love to see what I've got the whole thing. I checked with the band and it was like I want some. There must be something we put out so it doesn't go out live, because the problem is it's kind of like a bit boring because it's all just security cam footage. Well, it's not. It's my GoPro sitting just up on top of it in the corner of the room, and you can't really see any of us, so it's not really a very good band video, and there aren't really any of us on YouTube yet. We've done 2 gigs. One of them was just like a week before lockdown. So I'll maybe stick up another one. I've got like we did the full set we did was started with Black Sabbath, then NIB, then Fairies Wear Boots, which is one you saw there, and then did you notice I left a bit on where Brian was talking at the end? He said in a very Frankie Howard voice, "Is that there? Just check the old Jiffy bag." That's because about I don't know, before the lockdown stuff like that. One time I wrote the set list and the sequence for Tomorrow's Dream on the back of a Jiffy bag, and that was what we used for a set list. So it was always check the Jiffy bag. It became a sort of in-joke, but he said it at the gig, which I thought was hilarious, so I left it in. Yeah, that does sound like Red Fan. I think that might be the song I'm trying to play, or I'm trying not to play. The thing is, I know if I hear one note of it, I'll be able to play it. I just can't remember exactly what it goes like. Really annoying. Yes, I will stick. I'll stick some more songs. I've also the other band, the Kraken House band, which I've watched. I've stuck the whole thing on YouTube like private. But there's quite a lot of talking in that, and we did a few covers which we probably shouldn't have done. Didn't really practice them at all. We ended up with no rehearsal, so we kind of had to wing Born to Be Wild and Breaking the Law and something else. It's like not really what we were meant to do, so I'm going to cut it up so it's just the songs that we wrote, and so it's only like a 20-minute set instead of 40 minutes. Oh, the Grateful Dead bass player, right? I don't know. Every string separately amplified, right? Maybe, I don't know. I could do that for like a quadraphonic bass. I don't know. If I put the pickups maybe on their side, I think I've seen somebody do it before. Like, see if you put like a Strat pickup. Do I have a Strat? I've got a Strat pickup cover. See if you were to put like a Strat pickup on like that, and then put 4 of them on 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that would give me individual strings. But it's maybe worth thinking about it, I'm enjoying messing about with the stereo thing, especially now I've got the double thing. But this bass is a right surprise. I was totally expecting it to be rubbish. It was really cheap. I actually went and bought an Ibanez bass, a GAX bass, and it was good. And because I was driving down to Ayr anyway, they had another bass. I thought, oh well, I'll buy it. But I wasn't expecting it to be good. Probably a wee bit set up, it's a bit high action, but it sounds really good. Paul's Boutique, only Beasties records I like. I don't really know very much about them. I did buy, after seeing them in Renfrew Castle when they were amazing, and I have to say that the whole scratching records things, I've never really understood, but when they came on, they were to Immigrant Song, and the guy had Led Zeppelin 3 on like a camera thing on the big screen, and it was literally just the Led Zeppelin 3 record he had, and it was kind of, and he was just doing that, and it was like, what an art to it. Whoever the guy, I don't know if it was one of the, do they have like a specific guy? I don't think it was one of the three singer guys doing it. But they were fantastic. Really, really silly. I kind of like their silliness. I can see very much how they'd be a punk band, and then they started doing the rap thing. I don't know, it was also silly. It was like, you've got to fight for your right to parties. Just, it's so silly, and they're such obnoxious little bastards when they go down to that party and start like just pouring beer in the, you know, in the cooker and all that, just appear, yes, bunch of dicks. All right, you still have near them. Would that be in Brooklyn? Is that not Jones? I've not got it. You think you had a Yoshi guitar? I know my pal Wayne. If you join the how would you find Wayne? His name's Wayne. There's hardly nobody's called Wayne. He's got a few of them. They're very similar to the Grant guitars, which was on my wall up until a couple of weeks ago. Because Yoshi do guitars that look, they're the only guitars that look the same as that Grant guitar I've got, apart from all the Yoshi ones I've seen have been like higher end ones. So they've been like through neck or set neck, whereas the Grant ones are bolt on neck, but it's exactly the same shape body, exactly the same shape headstock. So they're kind of a bit, there you are, Wayne, here's the man who's into Yoshi guitars. So that's how you get a hold of Wayne. He's just magically here. How's it going, Wayne? I'm on the bucky. And showing off my new Iron Brew bass, which I believe was at number 31, this one, or 32. Iron Brew number 21. I'm only 20 Iron Brew basses. Don't know decide what to do with this. I'm kind of not finished playing with it yet. I kind of want to go into the studio one time. I suppose it'd have to be with the Sabbath band. I don't see why not. I think there's definitely something to be said for playing through two bass amps. Even though this obviously I'm using, you've got a Facebook called the Yoshi page. I knew you'd seen it somewhere before. Yeah, I really don't know that much about them. I don't know, were they made by Yamaki? I can't remember. Unfortunately, as soon as you think of Yoshi, you just think of the wee green dinosaur that lays eggs, don't you? Well, I've been playing Mario on my Nintendo DS, and Yoshi's the character to start with. Manhattan, Greenwich Village. I should know what these things are. They're Tushin built then. There you go, Wayne. The man who knows about Yoshi guitars. You actually bought one in Bridge of Weir, didn't you? A Yoshi guitar, the one with all the MIDI stuff on it, and the guy was a bit of a dick about it. Yeah, that was cool. I think I saw that last time I was down. Hey, Bobby, Rob, even, how's it going? And hi, Nikki. Thanks for giving Rob lifts to lots of places, I think. And being there for him, basically. Rob, someone was asking if they want to see the rest of the after the end gig, so I said I'll maybe stick it out in wee bits at some point. Maybe I could maybe just put it, if I put it in the link, in the video link for this, then you can watch it, and then it's not on YouTube properly, but it's out there. Albuquerque, that's where Bugs Bunny took the wrong turning in the Roadrunner movie. If you've not seen that, it's awesome. this down soon. The MIDI stuff's totally more repaired the guitar, yeah. I've heard John Joseph from the Cro-Mags. That's a bad range of story about BC, says that you live in a area with great musical history. Don't know much about it. Hey, Rocket Ronnie, how's it going? John Joseph. I don't know who's John Joseph from the Cro-Mags. I don't know. This is obviously American stuff. Obviously, it's before 1980, before Judas Priest Turbo, so I don't know anything about it. I basically only like music in the 70s up until relatively recently. Don't know much about the Beastie Boys apart from always like Sabotage and Intergalactic, you know, a couple of the hits sort of thing. And they were dead good live. One of them died actually, didn't they? One of them. They were so enthusiastic, though. It really was. It was like the show thing. They just came out and they were just being, yeah! It was a pure, yes, here we go. None of this standing about. New York hardcore punk. Oh. Hey, Neon Tech Tree John, how's it going? You dug it a fresher precision bass. The loft isn't going to make like a baseball bat. Well, I don't mind a baseball bat, but fresher is only fresher I've got is my Shocking Bird. It's a fresher neck on it. I can't remember exactly who they were. I got the neck at a bin, never saw the guitar it came from. But I'm assuming it was a Les Paul, like a bolt-on neck Les Paul. So don't know much about them. Apart from, I think they're quite highly regarded. Therefore, probably why I've never seen them. It kind of happens to me a bit like a lot. If you can ask me about guitars, and I don't really know anything about guitars that are always £1,000 or 1,500 quid. I don't really, maybe flick past them. I don't actually look at them properly because I would rather buy 10 guitars for that. It'd take a year to do it. I don't know what you. Punk's a weird one. I still don't know. I'm not really sure exactly what punk is. I always hated punk growing up, and then eventually I bought the Sex Pistols album because it was 50p. That was really good. It's not punk. That's not punk. And then it was like Green Day. They're punk. I really like that as well. So I still don't really know what punk is. It's kind of a funny one. Kind of depends where you are. I think there's quite a lot. The guy who runs the Blitzkrieg shop's into the. Is there something called post punk? He's into that sort of stuff where he keeps name dropping. He knows all these bands, and I don't know any of them. I can't even remember any of the ones off the top of my head. It's like ones I should know. It's happier. Oh, they'd the charting albums and stuff in the late 80s, and I had never heard of them. And they're from Glasgow. Some of them have played Bucky basses. I've never heard of them. Long Island. I've heard of that. These are places. Suffolk County ones. Is Suffolk County, is that just like Suffolk in England? I don't even know where it is, but I don't know if we call it a county. I don't know what CBGTs is. That like up here, the venue of New York? Like a lot of people from here, most I know about New York are out in Ghostbusters, really. Punk was really big, I know that much. Someone's a try. All right. And we're going to move on to another guitar. One that's only got one input on it though. Because I got this the other day, and it's quite interesting. Is it going to fit behind a bit? Definitely not going anywhere. That used to come out. That used to go back in. It takes 1 second. I'm not on camera. When I'm on camera, it takes 20. I'm back. There we go. CBBGB's famous club. It's where punk started. I think you'd probably find that British people would argue that punk started over here somewhere. Don't really know. I liked all the bands that were struggling against punk. Never really got it. The Skids, the Rosillos and the Belgians. I've actually heard of the Skids. I didn't know they were Scottish. So it's ridiculous. Yeah, so guitar of the week is this one. with its through neck, painted gold stripes to look like it could be a through neck, which I think is my favourite bit about it. See, it's like they don't even go to the end. These are factory gold painted stripes. This is a Cort, even though Scott took the truss rod cover does say Cort on it. It's even got a remnants of a serial number in the back. Yeah, so it's a Cort, bolt-on neck. I suppose you could argue it's kind of like a Washburn wing copy. I need to put the two together. But it's actually all right. I mean, I kind of feel I got one up on Scott a little bit with this one because he bought it for one of his contacts. I think it was a relative sort of charity shop in Partick, and bought it for him. And he was talking about it. I was happy. Oh, that looks pretty interesting. And then he gave it to me because there was something wrong with the bridge. It went in tone, and they get fed up with it. And because he works for Guitars of the Stars, like normal people, he's never seen strings that are 20 years old before. So what happens when strings get to a certain level of just, there is no point in trying to intone them. It was just like, it was showing like it was a whole fret out, the intonation. And it was just like, because strings, see, once they get to 10, you've been in an attic for 10, 20 years, there's no point in trying to intone it. They just do crazy things. You know, the harmonic point might be in the middle, they might be dead for the first half and all that. So basically, to put these strings on it was really what was missing. Exploited with a punk band. Hey Finn, how's it going? Yes. Someone just said old Hondo. Yes, it is a bit like a, but it's got bigger horns. I think the Hondas have got sort of short horns, kind of look a wee bit like a Yamaha SG. I think this is, it looks very like an Aria YS. I think there's maybe a 200 and a 400 and a 600, depending on whether it's bolt on or set neck. Kind of looks very similar to this, but definitely does have a Hondo-y thing going on. But this is Cort, so Hondo or Samick, and the tuners have been replaced because these were on upside down when Scott got it. He flipped them round. But actually, it's not that bad. Favourite bits, not the one we'll input. See the pickup ring? But yeah, it's like, well, the pickup, there's not really enough room for it. I just bend it, just ram it in somehow. So I'm going to have to do something with that. Whether I just cut it off, but I've noticed it before in quite a lot of Cort guitars. Also, the Washburn does it a slight amount, but not like that. That's like 5 mil into where the neck should be. Makes it go like that, but it's totally playable. Yes, Scott, the Exploited. So the Exploited, not the one that Big John from the Exploited was a member of Nirvana, or get asked to join Nirvana. Apparently, that's right. Yes, and he's I think I might be making him a guitar for some sort of presentation thing in December about guitars and gear to do it. He wants a glitter gold, which well, he doesn't know about it, but apparently glitter gold's this thing. Hi Scott, basically it's like I managed to beat you in something, and that was the fact that you didn't know that when strings are more than a decade old, intonation points are just all over the place. Yes, I even do use that to impress Civet. Like Nirvana, you know Nirvana? Yeah, why does that appear? Someone who was in Nirvana might be getting a Bucky caster or posted it on his page or something because he'd seen them in the shop. So that's like the Exploited. It's one of those things I just don't know. The Exploited were mad. I remember Big John lying in the pub floor and the rest of the band pissing on him. Right, okay. I was not aware of that. I don't know. I've not met the guy. I know he wants a Les Paul Jr., but he wants 2 bridge pickups in it, which I assume means like a bridge and a middle pickup, P90s, and one of those Les Trem things. So I'm basically making one out of actually Scott's got a swapped me for something ages ago. I can't remember what it was. A vintage Zip, it's called, which is basically like a sort of like a Les Paul Jr. It's got 2 single coil pickups at an angle, and it was yellow, and it's got like a Zip logo on the headstock, which is quite cool. That might have to come off though if it get given to somebody. I might have to put Mad Malco guitars on it. But yeah, so I was worried about this guitar because Scott was like, happy to it for what I paid for it, and I was like, yeah, okay, thinking, oh god, what have I just done? Was that a stupid idea? But actually, I would be able to do a video of it because I'm straight at line. So if it came down to it and I was having to try and demo a guitar that I didn't think was any good, I would struggle. YS300, yes. I think there's a 200 and a 400. it could be a 2, 3 and a 4, depends. Like you might find one of them's got like, I don't know. There'll be a bolt-on one, a set neck one, and a through neck one, like the Westone Thunders, or maybe the higher one will have, you know, like fancy inlays or an active circuit or something. But yes, the YS series looks, although not exactly the same as this. This bit, the two horns look like the YS, but this bottom bit looks like the Hondo Professional series that someone was talking about a minute ago. But it works. Bridge. Some guitars make me want to play pitched harmonics. This one does to the line. I look forward to a video of this coming up during the week. And I'll be kicking ass on it because it really suits me. It actually feels very similar to a Washburn Raven, even though I shouldn't be saying that because Washburn Raven is like Japanese, not this is Korean and a Cort and a cheap copy of it. But it seems to be a fairly decent guitar. The tuners might have been rubbish because they've been replaced with what look like modern ones, so it's been done relatively recently. As I said, someone had put them on upside down, so you don't know what they're doing. Richard Hale was the original bass player. Voidoids wrote Black Generation. These are all words I sort of heard. And yes, stripy guitars are cool. So that's two this week. The bass behind me, and then which I painted, and then this one, which is just silver stripes, which looks great. 8 front row guitars. Yes, I will be selling this. And I need to compare it to the Washburn Falcon, which is very much a copy of, but clearly cost a quarter as much. But it's actually, it's all right. It's nice. I'll definitely be selling it for a price that's way below the equivalent Epiphone or whatever it goes for, where you get a guitar of the same quality. You know, it's like I don't know, an Epiphone like this, you're probably talking, it's one of the ones that sticks about 400 quid. You know, second hand, I don't know, I'm going to press the button here, otherwise the cello shut down. There we go. Cool. Yep. So I'm thinking I might put coil splits in it. But then again, is it really worth it? I kind of get stung with a Saxon Les Paul that I did recently. I kind of put like the full Jimmy Page wiring in it, and it was like, it kind of wasn't worth it. I think people are a wee bit bored. The Jimmy Page wiring was really impressive like 5 years ago, but then they started putting it in all the Epiphones. So it's like, oh, everyone knows about the push-pull pots. It's not like a pure secret. Whereas if maybe 10 years ago, no guitars had that, or like Westones did and stuff, but they kind of stopped doing it. We're having a fair discussion about punk, which I wish I knew a bit more about. Invented the ripped clothes and safety pins of punk styles. I don't know. I thought it was Pete Townsend who wore, as an anti-fashion statement, wore a white boiler suit and Doc Marten boots. And Doc Martens were pure struggling and not doing well at all at the time. And he's like, he reckons, I've seen an interview, he reckons he could probably have afforded to buy Doc Martens, the company, at the time before he started wearing them. And then they just started getting super popular and then they became massive again. Bardina, a question. Is a Westone Thunder 1 a coil split or a coil tap? A coil split. A split is when you take a humbucker and you cancel one of them out to give you a single coil sound. A coil tap is what was on that Yamaha I was playing earlier on. So you've got like a single coil pickup, and it's like, say it's wrapped 10,000 times, so you get the start and the end. Well, what they do is they wrap it 7,000 times or something, take a wee notch out it, and then continue to wrap it. So instead of having just the start and the finish, you get the start and then a sort of halfway 2/3 of the way through, which gives you like a low-powered vintage type pickup because you're tapping into the coil. And then on full power, you get the whole of the pickup. So it kind of uses 2/3 of the pickup or all of the pickup, and they sound fantastic. I wish I could get more guitars with it, but absolutely joyous in that. As you're talking about the Blazer, the one that just somebody on here bought it from the Blitzkrieg shop. It was a BL 550. That's a 450. So the 550 is basically exactly the same guitar, apart from it had a nicer paint job. So it was candy apple red and it had a painted headstock, and the same pickups, but they were tapped. So you could, and it was just the same as it is on my Yamaha. Fantastic. And when I got that one about a month later, I saw it was the same pickups. I thought, there isn't a tap switch, but if it's like the Yamaha, which doesn't have a tap switch, I managed to add it because it was the same pickups, and they're not the same pickups. So I was a little bit disappointed, but I cannot complain about that guitar because it was 25 quid and it's an Ibanez Blazer. It's amazing. You were in a punk band in the 70s, Scott? I don't know if you've told me stories about being in a punk band. I still don't know what punk is. Buckfast, sticker matching, good with the pickups. This one. See, that's what Scott said, make it into a bucky caster. The thing is, I really like these stripes. They're really, if this guitar didn't have the stripes on it, yeah, totally, it would be, for some reason I just like. Do you know what it is? It actually reminds me of a toy car I had. It was a Ford Cortina that was black with the gold stripes going down the middle of the bonnet, like a not corgi, Matchbox toy car I had, which was a very late 70s thing, the black with the gold. I think the Cortina might have been gold with the black stripes on it, but stripes just like this going down the bonnet. And I think maybe that's what's making me like it. Oh. Yeah, the cost plus the rest was amazing. Well, that was the whole thing. It was like, you can buy like for less than you can buy at the time when it first came out, like 81 or 82. Incidentally, there's one for sale just now in Facebook Marketplace here that is the best. One of the best guitars I've ever played. It's the best Westone I've ever played. 250 quid the guy wants for it. It's a 1981 and it really is just beautiful. It's right in the coffee table era, so it's like sort of dark wood and it's got the stringers. It's a Thunder 2. So it's a set neck rather than being the through neck or the bolt-on neck. So it's kind of middle one. It's very nice. Malcolm Mclaren, I recognise that name. He's the guy that did the rock and roll swindle. He's the publicity guy for the Sex Pistols. Yeah, I know something about punk. Not that much. I do think punk was different in America, though. I think what we call punk, if you ask any British person, punk, name a band, Sex Pistols. I think that was way earlier than what punk was later on. I don't know enough about it to know. That's what it's a Bozo electric guitar from the 80s. I think you're right. I think it's the same one. This is that we kind of, you always see these on the vintage Japanese guitar site. People go, "Oh, I've got this Japanese one." They're not Japanese. They were made by Cort. There's no argument with this one because it's the Trusser cover, which isn't on it just now. Actually says Cort on it, so yes, it is. But I'm pretty sure I've seen them as Elmea, Bozo. I can't remember any of the other companies, but it's one of those ones that they just bought from Cort and put your own brand on it, so you could get this one. And I'm pretty sure there's a neck through one as well that's got like it's got extra dots on the fingerboard. So instead of having one, it's got like one big one and then two wee ones on either side, all the way down. And it's got, they're basically trying to make it look like a Washburn Falcon or a Washburn Eagle, because so this would be like a very cheap version of it, but not that dissimilar to a Raven. It is a flat top though. It's dead comfortable and I like it. I think I can see this being a punk guitar, and also a bit different. Go and buy your Epiphone Les Paul for, I don't know how much it costs now, 400, 500, 600 quid, and you've just got a Les Paul. It's like, oh, that's interesting. And then you get this, which is actually better than it, and it's like going to be, I don't know, a couple hundred, maybe not as much as that. I've not really worked out. Not looking them up. Bozo's a great name for a guitar brand. I would almost buy a Bozo, just because, assuming it wasn't too expensive, just because of the name on it. All the same serial number. Could be. Paid 180 for Thunder 1, amazing reacts, tight sound. Yeah, the Thunder 1's just brilliant. Arguably, I think there's an awful lot more Thunder 1s than there are 2s and 3s. The 2s and 3s, the 2 being the set neck and the 3 being the neck through, were significantly more expensive, like twice the price, 3 times the price, and ultimately they doesn't really make any difference whether you've got a set neck or a bolt neck, really, because the Thunders all had the same neck construction and the same pickup, so you could try out the 3 in the shop, and I'd imagine people probably tried them and went, okay, the neck through ones maybe, maybe 10% better, if you're being generous, and it's 4 times the price or 3 times the price, so you're just going to buy the cheap one. Not what's going to happen. Ravensmead, I would love to see after the end record a live album in Buckfast Abbey. Yes, that would be fantastic. It wasn't by the time when we were doing Fairies Wear Boots, which is the video I put out, I think I already had a glass of Bucky, so we could maybe we drink during it, and then when we went on to do War Pigs later on, I had to change bass before it, back from the C sharp bass onto the thing, so I didn't have time to have a wee drink. So we'd already started with intros coming in, and it's appeared. And then when it got to I didn't have time to go take a drink off the window ledge. And I was really pleased with that. And you don't really see it in the video, but I was happy, yes, and looking about, see the rest of the band, going, yeah, see what I just did. And they were like, concentrating. So I told everyone about it many times. I expect the likes, please. Yes, there's 22 people, only 9 likes. It doesn't cost you anything to like it. Good fun. Hold on, what's someone saying there? About Jimmy Page wiring it. Hold on. I need to turn this off and on again to get the wee cursor to move. There we go. I was missing out a wee bit there. Someone said something about Jimmy Page wiring. Malcolm for First Minister. That would be a bloody difficult job. I don't know what to do. It's like crazy stuff. I don't talk about politics, or try not to. Crazy stuff's going on just now. None of it seems to be good news either. We've got a COP26 or whatever it's called coming. I ain't no talking about that. The tubes, don't know them. Leon, you speaking of recording an album in an abbey, not Abbey Road, you mean Buckfast Abbey? Would be better. It sounds interesting. Good for reverb, I'd imagine. I went to a black high school in the 80s, had a mohawk, good step. Asked me, yo man, you some kind of punk. Fair enough, to be honest, punk was to me. I actually remember, this is Milton Campsite, right? See, between me and the wee co-op shop, it's not a wee garden anymore. It's just there's a bit at the corner where the traffic lights are, where it's a T-junction, and there used to be a wee sort of walled garden, and me and my 2 wee brothers, mum and dad, used to go up to a place called Cashel on Loch Lomond for the weekend, because they had a caravan site. They had a caravan there that was there during the summer, so every weekend I'd be up out in the boats and climbing trees and playing about Loch Lomond. And we used to go up on a Friday night, and we would always drive past that, and I would always be like, oh, the punk's there. It would just be all these folk with total blue Mohicans and stuff like that. And it's like that was what punks were. I had no idea what kind of music to listen to. And we were talking going back to, I was maybe, I don't know, between sort of 6 and 10 or something like that for those years when the punks were about. So when would punk have been popular? So 1984, 1985, 1986, something like that. I always remember just like that. Every time I walked past the wee thing, I remember I used to go, oh, the punk's there. Then he punks, because you just see him go, look at that guy. And he'd just have like his hair would just be vertical, up 2 feet and pink and stuff like that. Mental. So a lot one time in Central Park, they were nuts. Great band. So we got some old punks out. I know it's a bit of a punk. Punk has another meaning in the Soul Brother community. No idea. Oh yes, okay. I did watch Hellbent. It reminded me very much of there's a see when they're in the pub and they're playing like sort of folk music. It was very like it was a Mighty Bush episode who pure stole that whole thing where old Greg, the Mighty Bush episode, where they're in a pub and they're all talking about he's dead, and it's like it's basically exactly the same scene, apart from instead of being like a pub in the village where there's a heavy metal band recording in the church or whatever it is, it's like the 2 guys to the Mighty Bush are trying to find a big fish or something, and it's a pub at a seaside town. Yes, we do need t-shirts. I need to go and see Tony again. I'm getting them made up. I And I'm going to get them made up properly to say Bad Marco guitars. They will be in different colours this time, rather than all being black with different coloured writing. Wee bit of a mess up there. And I'm also going to get ones that have the Marshall logo on them. I've got a Wayne gave me a Marshall t-shirt. It was too wee for him. He got in a charity shop. And it says your Marshall guitar amplification with that logo on it. So I want that logo, but to say Mad Malco guitars. I think that'd be pretty cool. So hopefully get 2 different types. And you getting a shot, Jess, it'd be worth it. It'd be fantastic. I thought I could get, you know, want to buy a Buckfast guitar. I could send you a Buckfast guitar. I can send you one, pay for the postage both ways. So you can be playing a Buckfast guitar with a Mad Marco t-shirt on it in front of. And if you can get it in that position, like the other side of the car park, so it looks like it does in the bottle, that would be super amazing, and I would make it into a poster. It'd be fantastic. But good call, Jess. I will think about it. Punk was a good, all right. It could be. I know it's in Do You Feel Lucky Punk from Dirty Harry. I don't know when it come in. But is there not punk rock from the 60s in America? I'm sure there's people, is it like the Jefferson Airplane were punk rock or something like that? I don't know, because it's like different American music changed very differently from what was happening in Britain. America kind of seemed to be quite country-y, and they didn't have the same progression. Like if you listen to, I don't know, like your Lynyrd Skynyrd stuff like that, there was quite a lot of that sort of country American bands that were sort of like that, whereas in the time Lynyrd Skynyrd, what are they, sort of 71 to 78 or 77 or whatever, in that time we had Sabbath, and then they kind of went out, and then you had Bowie with the glam rock, and then you had, you know, punk, and then prog then punk, and all these things seem to be going at the same time, seem to be a bit mental. Whereas you listen, I remember being completely disappointed with the Grateful Dead, because I thought the Grateful Dead, they might be pure amazing. The records were always really expensive and amazing covers, and it was just like when you put them on, it was just kind of like blues jamming a little bit. MC5 and the Stooges, yes. I don't think they were that big over here though. I mean, I didn't even know that Stooges song apart from when I got when I had the Xbox. Was it Grand Theft Auto, that I Want to Be Your Dog? Really the first Iggy Pop song I'd heard apart from started the UK early 70s. Yeah, I don't know. When's the, let's say the Sex Pistols? They're 77, aren't they? Something like that. You got your Malcolm top out saying this. Oh, did I have the Malcolm t-shirt on? You're right. I forgot. I did. I remember taking some photos when we were down there. I don't know if I was wearing the Mad Malcolm t-shirt. I need to have a look. I didn't consciously take photos of it. It was windy and all that. I didn't have a camera. The great thing with guitars, you can play rock, country, jazz, classical, blues, and metal all on the same instrument. Yes, but you have to be able to play rock, country, jazz, classical, blues, and metal. I could rock. Can't really do country. Can't really do jazz. Can't really do classic, blues, and metal. I could sort of. Well, maybe it depends what you mean by metal. I can handle if metal's Judas Priest. I can do that. But if it's metal is anything post new metal, I can kind of do that. So. Yeah, so I can understand getting fed up with the Zeppelin and the Stones. I kind of did. They were bands I loved when I was like 14, 15 when I started listening to music, but it was really Sabbath was a different league. But the Stones were one of my favourite bands. I always loved Zeppelin. I love Deep Purple as well. It's bizarre. I don't really listen to Purple anymore, like at all. Like I don't know how can I have grown out of them, but they were kind of a bit weird. But then again, I kind of got a bit fed up with Zeppelin as well, to be honest. It's funny how some bands really stick and some bands not so much. For being super important to me, to not so much yet. I mean, now it's like well, Budgie or Zeppelin. Budgie, whereas I did know Budgie back then. I had one record. I loved a couple of songs off it, and it's they went, "Oh, that's not as good as Deep Purple." But I mean, now it's like I'd rather listen to Budgie than Deep Purple. Very dodgy. MC5 and the Stooges could have, yes. I do know. I bought the album. The problem with the album was I got it too late. I think it's the same as that. What's the Beano album? The John Mayall's Blues Breakers thing, and to a certain extent, the first couple of Van Halen records. Because by the time I got to them, I already had lots of stuff that had come from that. So if you were there when MC5 came out doing their kick out the jams and stuff like that. It was, wow, this is pure rock. We've not heard this before. Whereas by the time I heard it, you know, AC/DC, I'd known lots of bands that had started off like that. So for me, it wasn't as groundbreaking. Same with something like Van Halen. There was no time that Final Countdown didn't exist for me, so I knew the guitar solo. So even when I heard Randy Rhoads, it was like, oh, that's like Final Countdown. You know, sacrilege, but that's the way it was. So, the Saints, Australia, 76. Oh, we've got an argument going here. Go, Scott, get stuck in. I'll give you his phone number. You can get it. Like, the other way around, what we're talking about. Pistol started. The Damned officially first album in 76. I don't know. I wish I knew more about it. The thing is, it's like, the problem with all these punk bands is I don't like punk music, and I always remember not liking punk music, but actually whenever I hear it, I go, no, that's not punk, whatever it is I'm listening to. Actually, the first band that was playing at Walstonbury were a punk band. I suppose they were punk. They had a great song, and I can't remember, it was Fair, I think it was about, who's a cunt, and that was really basically it. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that online, actually. So it was like, fair as a fair as a fair as a it was like, it was great fun and high energy, just not really that interesting to me. The Damned have got some amazing stuff. I've seen the Damned. Actually, when I was talking about this with someone the other day. I was at the Canterbury Festival in 2003, 4 and 5, or 2, 3 and 4. I'd see the number of bands we saw. And there was one of the days that one of them was like punk / goth day. Like I think it was a Sunday, so we had. Would it be all about Eve, the Stranglers, the Damned? I mean, I think a lot of these bands didn't have, you know, the dead person in them or whatever. But it was, so I've seen quite a lot of these bands that kind of fit into that category, which I don't know, sort of late 70s, early 80s punk, whatever that is. Television. Oh, we're having a. I wish I knew more about it. I mean, totally feel free to argue amongst yourselves. That's great. I wish I knew more about punk and liked it more. The front row guitar, a normal. A question not about punk that I can maybe answer. Just bought a Boss Katana Mark II and the GAFC stereo fan switch. I don't know. It was only a stereo expand thing. All right, is the stereo expand thing similar to what's on the Blackstar ID core, where you put it, you turn it on, and it's like when you set the ID core there, and you're looking straight at it. There's your amp, and you can hear the sound coming from that. It's pure spooky when you look at it. I assume that's what your stereo thing is. Fantastic. The Dictators. I know the Dictators because the Dictators were the band. The guitarist was Ross the Boss, who ended up getting a job as a roadie for Black Sabbath in when Dio was there, 1980, and the bass tech was Joey DeMeo, and they were watching it, and then they decided they were going to start Manowar. So that's how I know the Dictators. There's only one real band that put Sex Pistols. I don't know, are Green Day not punk? I mean, I'm sure they're they sold an awful lot more records, they're an awful lot catchier. I don't know, but was there not? But some of the stuff was amazing. Was the first punk band not the one? Who was it that had a single? And it was like the single, and on the back of it, it had like 3 chords, like E, D, and A, like the tab for 3 chords, or chord boxes. And I went, right, go out and do it. And basically that was the thing. You'll leave 3 chords, bang, go and start a band, buy a cheap guitar, play through an H&H amp, obviously, and then just play these 3 chords and then write your own songs. I think that was kind of one of the big 60s punk. Was the Nuggets Pebbles compilations. Yes, okay. And did that covered like your Strawberry Alarm Clock and stuff like that, sort of post Beach Boys-y psychedelic type stuff, which America did an awful lot longer than what we did in Britain, because it was like Sgt. Pepper's Magical Mystery Tour, and then it's like getting towards the end of 1967. Yeah, no more psychedelia, it's just gone. You know, back to rootsy Jumpin' Jack Flash and Revolution and all that. Whereas I think America kept going a little bit, so you get like your sort of psychedelic-y, Sgt. Peppery type stuff going on for 68, 69 type thing. Don't know. 60s punk. Yeah, so there there was I think it was a punk. I think it was called punk rock as opposed to just punk. The Clash were the only band that mattered. Yes, I knew that. It was actually, if Moth Code was on my girlfriend's Civic and went to Spring Screen, which is an outdoor rock festival in, I think it's in Taiwan, and she went and it was like, it'd been a bit of a, she's a bit cool. Didn't really have any super plans for going there, and was on the train and didn't have a ticket, and actually met Joe Strummer on the train, and he got her in for free into the festival. So that's pretty cool. Because she was telling me this when I first met her, and I was like, yeah, one of the Clash, really? She's like, yeah, I can't remember what his name was, and it was like I sent her a picture of the inside of the Clash record. She's like, that guy top right. It was like Joe Strummer. That's who it was. So Joe Strummer, like, so how's it going? What are you doing? She's like, I'm just going to the festival. All right, where are you camping? I'm not really sure yet, but all right. So I kind of took her under her arm. Oh, I'm missing out tons of shit. If there's something really important, you can super chat me. See, I wrote super chat down there. I do actually. Cheers to Jess for buying me this bottle of Bucky for this week. Otherwise, I'd have had to do it sober. I was going to buy one anyway. I wish I knew more about the Clash. I've got their greatest hits, and it's like, I don't know, penetration coming up for air. Not at all. Yes, got Vivienne Westwood. That's probably why Civic knew who she was. Arguing the puckers a circle chuck. I don't remember. The problem is, it's like arguing about a subject I know virtually nothing about. But Dead Kennedys as well, I can sort of recognise that. One of the ones that started with Mind Flowers by Ultimate Spinach. I'll be honest, see, if that had been cheap enough when I was buying records, I reckon the album cover of that would have sold it to me. Yeah. Devo, were they punk? I was watching Devo the other day with their version of Satisfaction, where it's amazing. They must have had mirrors in the studio, is what I'm thinking, because, see, it looks that they're doing an unbelievable impression of being in slow motion with the movements. But the guitarist singing, so they are playing it, the drums are being played, so you see him kind of going, they're kind of doing that. They've obviously watched a video of themselves playing and worked out how they could make it look like, they're doing an awful lot of sort of stepping back and doing that. It's really, really impressive. I wish I knew more of them. I actually got told one time, I played a gig when I was with Jesse Ray in a place called the Twa Dugs in Ayr. It was down in Ayr somewhere, Troon, something like that. And I'd had like a synthesizer around my neck and all that, and the guitar shaped like swords, all with the kilts and stuff, and with Jesse Ray as the front man. And then someone crowd to us after we played, up here, you guys kind of remind me of Devo. And I was like, thanks very much, Devo, up here awesome. I was like, that wasn't a compliment. Was it? Right. I've got albums that I bought purely for the cover. Yes, I've got plenty of albums I bought. I've got one of the best ones is the best cover. It's a band called Ross. It's like the front cover is like a Helter Skelter, but it's like a Helter Skelter off a Yes album cover or something like that. It's terrible music. I can't remember what it goes like. But I just thought Ross is a really strange name. It's like, do you listen to Ross? And it's like, what? Ross, the guy who works in the shop? It was like, no, the band Ross. I think the singer's name was George Ross or something like that. So they just used his second name, but it's quite bizarre. Ignite by the Damned. I will need to look that up. I will, after this, I've been on the Bucky, so I can. In fact, actually, I'm going to take a little break for the Bucky because I'm only an hour in. I've done that, so I'm going to. My pal Rab gave me rosé cider, which I'd imagine is horrible. Hence why when I was round borrowing a tent off him for that festival, which I didn't actually end up using. So I take these two cans of cider out of a 4-pack, implying somebody brought 4 cans of cider up in a 4-pack and only drank 2 of them. Well, they drank one, then couldn't get through the second one. So what does rosé cider taste like? It tastes sort of going towards one of your fruity ciders, you know, your dark fruit ones or something like that, but basically it's a kind of strongbow. That's fine. LA Punk was was very, very violent because of the LA cops. Possibly. I don't know. I mean, punks don't look, no, what I remember saying, they didn't look particularly approachable. Do you know what I mean? With all the safety pins through your face and all that, but I don't know. Oh, the Twat Talks for Halloween. That'll be mental. There's a record shop just across the road from it as well, I seem to remember going into. Yes, can we talk about, I know something about prog rock. I went to see Caravan last night. Hey, Buster, yeah. It's not sticky enough to spill. I don't spill things on my own carpet, only on yours. I hope it didn't actually go sticky, because it's like shit like Monster is so. So the next topic, there's two topics of conversation. We can either talk about prog or how terrible Eric Clapton is. That's more my thing. Don't know that much about Eric Clapton, but I did go and see him and he was terrible. So from that point of view, great LA band X. Don't know them. Let's go on to prog. So how come I'm not really a fan of Genesis or Yes? Don't really get them. Don't class Pink Floyd as punk, but love Caravan and Camel and Jethro Tull, or did love Jethro Tull, all that. Yeah, I knew it wasn't the Caravan cover, it was my new poster there, which was only a £5 signed by the band. I can see Pie's name. I'd imagine that's Jeffrey who's written his name right below him, and so there's only 4 signatures on it, but there was definitely 5 people in the band, unless maybe the bass player's not a proper member of the band. I can't really see which one of them's. Someone Walker, that's the drummer, and oh no, that'd be Jan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so they have all signed it. Yeah. So there's Jan Shellas, Pie, Jeffrey, Mark Walker being the new drummer and the new bass player. The new bass player was amazing, by the way. He said, "Who's that? New guy? Not seen him before. He's brilliant." It can't be. Caravan are just amazing. I tried to do a Caravan medley at the start there, and I just couldn't remember it. Yeah, perhaps I hope you subscribe to Buster's channel. I said, I think he was at 80 subs. I was up here. We'll do this video and I'll try and plug in, see if we can get you up to 100. I think I got up to 85 in the first, which is better than nothing. It's like, but not quite as good as I was hoping. I was hoping I would get more. I think it's probably because quite a lot of you probably subbed anyway. So it's not new people. The bass and the vocals of Yes. Yeah, I don't know why. There's something in them. I don't know, there's something about Yes. I actually saw the original lineup at Yes at Glastonbury with 2004 or something like that. They were playing in the food court, like the bit where all the burger vans are. It's kind of bizarre. And I think it was like the first and last time the original lineup played for years and then ever. So it was like Rick Wakeman and Chris Squire, and I felt really bad for the episode like 2 weeks ago when I was talking about him. John Anderson's the singer. The guitarist, who I said looked a bit like a shrunken head from Indiana Jones, is oh man, I've forgotten his name. He's pretty disgusting. He's amazing on the guitar. The main guitarist guy is an odd looking chap. Anderson. Greg Howe, him. Did Cream and Demerton Dog. Oh, we're getting to get some Clapton abuse. I was a bit annoyed about it, but I got his book from somewhere, Steve Howe. That's how I said Greg Howe. Yeah, Steve Howe. Greg Howe's somebody else, though. But yeah, Steve Howe. But me and my pal Peg were at Thingy last night, at Caravan last night. We were at that gig. I think it was 4 of us went to Glastonbury, and only 2 of us went to that. We're like, see what happens, and they came out, and they were playing the most mad prog, and then it was like pure. You saw Rick Wakeman come out with his cape and all that, and it was like pure. We're like, what horrendous keyboard sound do you think he's going to have? Like, I can only imagine what it's going to be like. And he came out and it was just, it was like the most ridiculous. And the 2 of us were absolutely pissing ourselves laughing. Couldn't help it. This is the first song, and all these folk were looking around pure laughing at it. It's like, no, it's awesome, but it's just that we were expecting the most mental analog synth sound in the universe, and it's exactly what we got. Whatever we got. Hey, super chat, how's it going? We've got a question I'll have to ask whoever else has been asked. I have a bass with a single line 6 humbucker. I don't know, a line 6 humbucker. Is it definitely a line 6? Because the line 6 not mean it's like the fancy one. How do you write? It's a Music Man in style. Right, well, the Music Man does have its own volume control system. Never played a real Music Man. Well, I've played one, but the vintage one. So you got your, basically your humbucker. The volume controls, you've got like a bass and a treble. That's what you got. It's like a high cut, a high pass filter, a low pass filter, and a humbucker. So basically, I would run it 3 knobs, and we're talking it's a Music Man type humbucker, which is a big one with 6 massive poles on it. On a 3 bass thing, I would do the high pass filter, the low pass filter on the 2 tone knobs, and the volume, I would make a coil split, or not a coil split. I'd make it a series parallel, so that you got like a sort of single coil sound, and then you get the full whack humbucker, and you had the bass and the treble for each one. That's how I would wire it. It wouldn't be that difficult to do. I could send you a diagram, but they're dead easy. The low pass filter is just a tone control, so you know how to do that. And the high pass filter, you use a different value cap. They're really cheap. That's why I ended up buying 50 by mistake, because I thought I'd bought 20. No, it must be. I bought 100 by mistake. I thought I was buying 20 for like £2 or something. It was 20 bags of 5 or 20 bags of 10 or something. So I ended up with thousands of the things. And basically, all you do with that is you run the signal through the cap to take away the bass, and then you put it on a volume control. It's dead easy to do. You've noticed I've been trying to use them up. Every time I've been doing like a Strat Buckycaster, I've been making it a volume, a tone, and a high pass filter, because I can use up all those ridiculous amount of things that I bought. And the thing that I found with the Music Man pickups, assuming the line 6 is what I think it is, they're very, very powerful. So I've got like an Ibanez 5-string bass. The pickups in it were 4-string pickups, so they didn't pick up really the high string or the low string. Really, it was like a bad design. So I put these 5-string Warman, Jimmy Lloyd or something. I think he died actually, some blues guy, bass pickups from Josie Warman in it. And I run these things as single coils, because I put a switch on them to make them single coil humbucker. They're so powerful. It's pure insane just how powerful they are. I assume that might be what they're all like, just because it's such a big pickup. You know, physically it's twice the size of a normal bass pickup, so twice as volume. So I find that on those pickups particularly, you might find you don't want a pure slamming, breaking the amp type thing. If you've got like a throttle back button, so you could just play it through someone else's amp sort of thing. Anyway, cheers for the super chat. That was awesome. Thanks very much. You've now got me nearly my whole bottle of Bucky for next week. But give me a shout at Mad Marco Guitars and ask me about the wiring thing. I'll send you a diagram if you can't find one. Where we at? Captain Sensible is one of my biggest influences. I only know who Captain Sensible is because of he's in the Young Ones when they play a song called Video Nasty, something like that. The Damned. Captain Sensible's in it, and the other guitarist playing my West Tone Raider, sort of the really pointy Explorer with the 2-tone silver burst. So that's how I know who he is. Also, I remember the Young Ones. The Motorhead run that as well. It's amazing. And a Video Nasty. Very clearly, the Young Ones has not been remastered for DVD. When you see it, it's pure ridiculous. We're going on to chords here. Someone asked me earlier on that I missed if I know any musical theory. And it's like, no, I don't know any at all. Minor 7s. I can play an A minor 7, but I never use it. I just play power chords. It's like... Steven Seagal. I don't know how long it goes. He was playing the Renfrew Ferry, which is an old car ferry from the Clyde, and where this is the old ferry. They just made it into like a gig venue, like a restaurant. But the Renfrew Ferry, literally, I've been on it recently. It's still there, but it literally has to go 20 meters, something like that. It just goes across the river and back again. I think it's still there. I think we're talking about building a bridge actually. I need to look up some of this stuff. The problem is I don't hang about with my pals and sitting. I now drink on a Sunday with you lot rather than sitting with my pals. We used to sit and listen to records all night. To be fair, before the internet, I mean, I wonder what it'd be like now, because he goes, "Oh, do you fancy listening to this?" And you just type it in. I remember my pal Michael, he was one of the first people with the internet, and what was it called? Napster. So at the start of the night, he's like, honestly, you won't believe this. What song, any bands or something you've never really heard, you quite fancy hearing what they sound like? And that's where I first found Manowar. Is up here, Manowar, looked them up, and it was like, the file sharing thing. I was like, the power of thy sword, we'll have to have that one, that must be good. So they'd be like, right. Set it all in motion, then we would sit and drink and do the usual stuff. Then 2 hours later, they'd be like, right, let's see if the computer's done it yet. And he would have downloaded half a dozen songs free off the internet that we could listen to. Amazing. Mick Jones is a great guitarist. The stupidest thing that Strummer did was to sack Mick. There's a musical direction that front I don't know enough about. I didn't know Joe Strummer sacked anyway. I could probably have told you Mick Jones was in the Clash. The bastard, here's how a Music Man should be wired. The pickup is split and each single coil has its own tone pot. Alright, is that how it's done? Okay, so just like basically just a tone control for each coil, and then they're both on, and if it does that, they can't be in series, they must be in parallel, which kind of explains why I had that problem with the Music Man pickups that I put in that Ibanez, because I was running them in humbucking mode, and it's like, it's so damn loud. It's like it just pure overloads your amp immediately. It's just like pure slabs of digital distortion. Yeah, so I think maybe the big, massive humbucker isn't actually designed to be run in humbucker mode. Love me a major seventh chord. That's not a natural seventh. I don't know these things. That's A minor seven, isn't it? Not due anymore. Can't go back to Savoury now. I think I've been missing some. I've missed some sort of joke. Oh. Jilted John by Jilted John? No. Flat 5? I don't know what flat 5 is. I thought the devil's chord was the tritone, as in Black Sabbath. I don't think that's a flat. Maybe it is a flat 5 actually. I know a flat 5. No. Yeah, because you're thinking that's G5, right? So you do G and then the 5th. So a flat 5 that. So. Bit like Marsbringer Award, perhaps. I know most of that album. If you've never heard of Manfred Mann's Earth Band, talking about prog, they've got an album called Solar Fire that is fan-flippin-tastic. It's amazing, and it's like, who are Manfred Mann's Earth Band? Don't know, but they did have some big albums. But the Solar Fire one is just, it's a stunning record that, again, as Neil was talking about, I bought it because of the cover, and it was like £1. I don't know, what's this like? Put that on when I've got my pals around and we're sitting drunk, and it's up here, whoa! Amazing. The CD's better though, because I bought the CD because it's got the Joybringer from the same suite, but it's not on the actual record. I bring joy, na 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 na. They put music to the words to it. It's fantastic. Absolutely love it. Play some Sabbath. I think I might have to tune. I don't think this guitar's in tune anymore. In fact, actually, I might move on to another guitar which I've actually finished. James, I'm getting drunk now anyway. It doesn't really matter whether it's in tune or not. So this is, I don't know if Blacktooth Fox is still on. He said he was quite interested in this. So now I have fitted the proper Floyd Lowe's nut on it, and also the name which I came up with myself, called it the Golden Wonder. So I put a thing of some Golden Wonder crisps on the head of it. So this is a Fender Marauder copy. I thought it was like a sort of badly done Jazzmaster, but it's actually, there's a Marauder which looks very similar. It's very clearly a copy of it. I need more distortion. I need my twin note fuzz pedal. What's some Sabbath? I wish I. I'm tempted to not do it because I got copyright struck for my version of Tomorrow's Dreams. Without Bob's snare. Well, you can't sing the snare and play the through the centuries to supersonic years, electrifying enemies, drowning in tears. To give you a thought never let, I did never die. Except to my universe, that's another thing. That's what it's like. It's really bizarre. The tone control is where you think the volume should be. The volume controls are way up here. Kind of bizarre. The hemispheres. The only thing I can play even remotely is like. But it's in a crazy timing, so it's not right. But hemisphere being the. I don't want to do the rush slagging again. I don't know if you were on the other week there, Wayne. There was folk really getting stuck into Rush, and I was on the pure defence of Rush, going up here. No, Rush are great. The opposite from everything. Damn it! I never thought about the curry pot noodle. It's not. It's actually Ringo's. So it's got some Beatles. Well, there's the bit that I actually cut it off from. I bought these in East Kilbride because actually the shop doesn't sell any Golden Wonder crisps. All right. And I was around at Scott's, so it was up here. Oh, look, Ringo's. So it's got like a Beatlesy link as well as having the Golden Wonder label for the headstock. The other one looked better. There was a better colour because that's like lime green, and the other one was I can't remember, but the flavour didn't seem to. I think it might have been salt and vinegar, and the salt and vinegar Ringo's are like, it's just like acid attack when you eat it. There's no flavour, just pain. I don't know if you remember, some salt and vinegar crisps are a bit like that. I hadn't thought of doing the curry pot noodle one. But I do also have to say that, see, sticking the crisp bag label, because it's like crisp packets, it was made of sort of foil stuff, sticks much better than the paper labels off Bucky to the headstock. Norwegian Woods. I got far more notes there than I thought I would. So I looked around and I noticed it wasn't so yes, it does. I mean, the Beatles were really good at some of the flicking stuff in. I think you've got to consider Talon's prog. What are the chances of that? Look at that! First attempt! Never put me off Tull is Ian Anderson's apparently a right dick, and it's like a pure Tony Iommi talking about because he was in Tull for 2 weeks, and he was on the Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus for the 2 weeks that he was in Tull. He left Sabbath, and he was like, "I've been offered to join Jethro Tull," and the band were like, "Oh fuck man, we're pure fuck, but you have to do it, man." Tony's like, "No, I don't want to leave you guys." And this man, but go fucking join Jethro Tull. So he went and joined Jethro Tull for a couple of weeks. Learned that basically turning up at 10 in the morning and actually playing all day is a good mood. And then he went for lunch one day, and he went to in the studio cafeteria, and he sat down next to Ian Anderson and the rest of the band. So he's like, "You're all right." Picked up his train back. Was happy. Well, what's up? He's happy. You can't sit with Ian. Oh no, he won't sit with us. We've got to sit at a separate table. We're like, all right. Seems a bit of a dick. Don't really know. I did see them one time, and they were at the concert hall in Glasgow, and I had at the time all the albums up to the early 80s, maybe something like that. So I'd like, I had Thick as a Brick and War Child and Stand Up. This was that one, which I really like. Aqualung, bit of a Tull fan, and we went there, and I only heard, there was only one song they played that I recognised I'd ever heard before, and it was like a bit of Locomotive Breath in the middle of another song. That was it for a tour. They would obviously plug in some other album or something, but it was like, okay, maybe Tull's one of those bands that everyone's been to see them every year since the 70s, so they have to play a new set, but you've got to play some classics. They've got to play Aqualung. They've got, they didn't play any of those ones. Really annoying. Oh, sorry, I saw somebody mention Love. Yes, I know Love. Oh, come on. Someone damaged you. There is just not that happy, like someone go be there. It takes a pain, but someone tells you you can call my name. It just take that someone Yeah, so I've seen Love. I saw them at the Canterbury Festival, and Robert Plant was at that Canterbury Festival as well, and Robert Plant played Seven Is and Seven Is song, which was his favourite song in his set because he knew that Arthur Lee was on 2 bands later. So I saw them with a band, and then I saw them with what was called the Forever Changes Orchestra, but they kind of played most of Forever Changes. That was pure surreal. See, hearing that live when you're just like in an orchard country house garden in Canterbury, and it was like we were sitting there. The first couple of bands were ones I hadn't really heard. Then it was like that was the first year we were there, and then it was like Arthur Lee coming out. He was just playing song. It was just amazing. That album is fantastic. I have bought another couple of love song albums, but that Forever Changes one's just like a lightning in a bottle. There you go, fantastic. I'm impressed with Aqualung. Yeah, I used to be able to play the solo for it, but I can't remember what it was like. To be honest, I can't believe I got the 4 notes in the right order. First go. I mean, that's never happened. I can't even do it now. See, I can't even do it now, even though I played it correctly 2 minutes ago. I don't know if I've got Songs from the Woods. I can picture the cover. It's basically him sitting on a stool in the woods because it's Songs from the Woods. I don't know. I kind of lost interest. I think maybe, to be honest, after we went to see them, the only thing I remember being any good at that gig was the fact that the keyboard player had, like, I don't know, his Prophecy synth or whatever it was, but he had like an old wooden case thing, like a collapsible thing that looked like a Hammond organ. So it's like basically all it was like a Hammond organ shell with 2 shelves on it. So he had like his modern keyboard and his modern synth sitting on top, but it had that wooden organ look. And I always tried to get the keyboard player in the Blind Dog, the Caravan band I was in, to get that because I thought that'd be cool. Because it looks like you don't have to play an organ, but if it looks like you're playing a Hammond organ, there you go. So it's basically you're talking just 2 planks of wood and then a couple of shelves and a back on it. That'll fall flat. I don't know Roy Clark, but it's a really bad name for a band. He does not sound metal. He sounds pure bland as hell. Broccoli. No, I don't know. Or some Pontiac knows Roy Clark. I don't know. Jerry Reed, all those country guys. I don't know. Everyone just come up with names I don't know, but I do know that a few years ago, me and my pal G sat and watched. Was it called the Grand Old Opry or something like that, or was it the Johnny Cat? There was a TV show that was on in America in the 70s that had made it onto YouTube, and we sat and watched it, and some of it was amazing. George Jones and all that. It was amazing. Some of the guitar playing was just stunning, and then that's when I started getting into Glen Campbell and stuff like that. It's fantastic. These are records that I wish I'd known about when I was looking at records. I'm totally sure I saw a billion Glen Campbell albums for 50 pence each and just went Glen Campbell. I didn't know it was going to be amazing. He didn't have any good album covers. You know, his album covers are just some dude with a sort of side shed wearing a suit. Whereas if it had been like, you know, and Glen Campbell, I don't know if that was there before, but Glen Campbell was a stunning. I don't know who the other people are. Oh, he could damn well shred, aye. And the Beach Boys and all that. Look, he's on a stupid key. I always wanted to do a Beach Boy. I wanted to be a Beach Boys cover band at one point. I wanted to play on beaches because I had my boat. So, yeah. I don't know if I probably do. I remember what the theme tune for Smokey and the Bandit goes like? Probably. I think if you're into music, genres are important as long as it's good. Yes. It's just that I didn't really have a genre as much. I had what has good album covers and sounds quite interesting and you can get for £1 or £2 on record. Because it's like a lot of people at the time when I was, like I don't know, 15, 16, 17, 18, that sort of year, people were going and you could only, it was like 15 quid for a CD. It was a lot of money back then. It's like, so people were only buying things they knew would be good or they'd heard before. You didn't really have that opportunity to just go, wonder what budgie sounded like. Whereas I was going in for 15 quid, I was buying 10 records. So I was like, up here, budgie, look at that cover. It's like a budgie-headed soldier on a horse. This has to be good. And it was. That wasn't the first one I got, though. All that stuff. Yeah, Mr. White, those dudes were not called, is it not the Wrecking Crew? I've seen I saw a video of them and they were sitting in a hotel room, all unplugged, rehearsing for the gig. And it's basically the drummer, I don't know, the people that were important, Glen Campbell and the bass player, and they're just sitting there unplugged. He's like, right, so we'll do that. Just working out, just playing unplugged guitars, battering the bass players, kind of just going. Well, they worked it out for whatever session or gig it was they were doing. Is MacArthur Park? Do I not know that as by not well maybe with Jimmy Webb? Is it not Richard Burton Harris? Was it not Richard Harris that did MacArthur Park? Wow, you saw an LP for 2 for 39p, dealing pound stretchers, bought Funkadelic and Steve Martin. Well, I'm sure Funkadelic would have been good. I just don't have any Funkadelic, and I was really kicking myself for not buying it. When I was in the Barras, just when I was still in the Jesse Ray band, there was a Funkadelic box set. It was £6. It had like 6 CDs in it, and it had the Roger Troutman stuff. And Roger Troutman is the guy who was in Funkadelic, but not the early stuff, and then was the guy who played all the instruments on Jesse's album. So I wanted to get that, but I've never got it. Yes, Richard Harris. Yeah. But I don't remember 2 LPs for 39p. I do remember the first time I ever saw a 25 pence record. It was someone had told me about missing records. I'd been going to the Record Fair and the Record Exchange, which were 2 record fairs still there in Glasgow. I think I pointed it out in one of the videos. You could they got records for 50p. Actually, I remember buying Caravan played a song off it last night, Nightmare, from the album Better By Far, which I got for 50p, which I bet is worth £100 now because no one ever bought it. So But the first, I went to this Missing Records, which I'd never heard of, didn't like it. I was looking through a record bin for 25p. I was like, I've not seen 20, I think 4 for £1. Seen 5 for £1. I used to get 5 for £5. 8 for £5 was quite a common one. And it was Cat Stevens Greatest Hits. And I bought Cat Stevens Greatest Hits for 25p because on the previous night's Vic and Bob's Shooting Stars thing, it was a stupid game show which everyone's copied since then, and it was like you had to guess what Vic had hidden below the countertop, and it was like, I don't know, a potato, and it was like, like a pair of shoes. It's like, no, it's a Cat Stevens Greatest Hits, and then the following day I happened to see Cat Stevens Greatest Hits, and it was like for 25p, and it was mentioned in Shooting Stars. I'll buy that, and it's amazing. How did Cat Stevens pass me by? But Cat Stevens is brilliant. Together. Oh, eastbound and down, we know we've been trucking. Maybe I do know that song. Not that I was ever, I'm obviously, being of the age I am when TV only had 3 channels and shit. You watch Smokey the Bandit even though I didn't understand it. I like the car chases. I don't remember the words. Jerry Rig. Parliament Funkadelic, yeah, basically the same band, George Clinton. Yes. Bernie Worrell on synth bass. But the whole, basically that's Jesse Ray, the Scots funk guy. His band is all those people. Was Steve Jordan on drums, who's currently in the Stones, I think, actually, since Charlie died. I can't remember the other people, but it's basically it's all people from Parliament Funkadelic, same band, kind of messing about. She got the gold mine, I've got the shaft. Right? It's obviously quality. I think Parliament. I think George Clinton's playing relatively soon in Glasgow. Actually, I remember Jesse saying to us, if you'd been a bit more rehearsed, we should have been supporting them down in Glasgow. It was like, hey man, we've never played funk before. I don't know what we're doing. Maybe if we'd had a drummer, we could have done it. The keyboard player played the drums. I don't know who Jimmy Webb is either. Eddie Hazel, is he the guy that played what's the song called? Is it Maggot Brain or Maggot Breath or something? It's got a pure 6 solo in it, which kind of just sounds like, I don't know. George Clinton was influenced by MC5. Possibly, yes. I do have a problem a bit with George Clinton because Bernie Worrell, who was Jesse's best pal, the synth player who was in Talking Heads, you've heard him. Whether you knew it was him or not, you definitely heard Bernie Worrell, the best synth bass player in the universe. He basically died of cancer, and the number of songs that he's wrote were pure amazing, but he got no money for them at all. He just had no money. So basically, like, one of the things about being in Britain is we've got like a national health service. So if you've got cancer, you get treatment. Whereas in America, if you don't have insurance, but when you get diagnosed, you have to pay for it, and it's hundreds of thousands of pounds. And even if you're the greatest synth bass player in the world, you just have to just die from it. That's it. And I think George Clinton kind of stole all his money basically, because I mean, they must have had. He co-wrote all the music, just never get any money. And PCP, you don't even know. PCP's Angel Dust. That's all I know about it. I don't even know what it is. Is that? Do you even get it anymore? Is it something like crack or I don't? All these drugs, I have no idea what they are. When Funk started using synth bass, Bernie, his first ones, he basically had a Yamaha Clavanova and a wah-wah pedal before you got synthesizers that could do that. And he got one of the first ever Moogs. He was one of the people that Robert Moog had pointed out and given it to him. I think it's the first 6. The first 6 production Moogs were just given to people, and one of them was Bernie Worrell from Parliament Funkadelic. So up here, obviously, Bob Mood had heard it and gone, up here, right, he needs one. Here's a mini Moog, not the Moog, the mini Moog, obviously. I really don't know. I really don't know that. I've never bought any Parliament Funkadelic. The thing is, the Parliament Funkadelic records were never £1. It's like I would see them. It's the same as I was talking earlier on about the Jethro, the Grateful Dead albums. I think I bought one, but it's like the Grateful Dead albums were like a tenner, and it's like I paid a tenner for an album. I can get like 6 other records, you know, like the Stones and the Who and all that. Just getting stuff. I'll point out doing PCP. I don't think. Maybe I'm just completely naive. I don't think we ever got Peter. I don't think there's ever been any angel dust in Scotland. I don't know though. I don't even know exactly what it is. I don't think we get crack either. Or do we? Has crack cocaine or what's the Breaking Bad stuff? Crystal meth? I don't think we get that. I don't know. PCP is nice over breakfast cornflakes and yeah. Well, okay, I can see. Yeah, keeping it serious there, Mr. White. I like it. Yeah, Bitsy Collins just playing on the one. I wish so much that I'd understood the funk when I was in the band with Jesse playing the funk, because I mean I was able to play it, but I didn't understand what it was. So I was able to kind of do it, but I was kind of playing more, playing ultimate funk music. That should be, I'm basically playing. I played. I can't imagine there's very many other people in the world who've ever played Chainsaw on an analog synth apart from me and Bernie Worrell. It's an amazing song. Check out Jesse Ray Chainsaw. I was just making chainsaw noises with it. Actually, that one there, the chord Volca. And I didn't understand the funk thing, so playing on the one, so it's always. That's you just got to be on the one all the time. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can play other notes, but you've got to play definitely every single time on that one. I don't know who Marky Smith was, but pouring lager in his cornflakes and using speed instead of sugar. That's an interesting way to go. Dave Lister, though, one of my heroes, I used to have his cornflakes with grated raw onion and chili sauce on them. Dave Lister from Red Dwarf, which if you've never seen Red Dwarf and you like sci-fi at all, Red Dwarf's really good, apart from a couple of dodgy seasons in the middle. But I wonder if they're still going, actually. I think they're quite old now, but pretty funny. Oh man, I'm really trying to down this cider so I can get back onto the bucket. It's all right. It's the same as all the fancy ciders. If you're going to be drinking fancy cider all night, if you're going to have 6 cans of cider, you either have to just buy standard apple flavoured cider or you have to buy one of each flavour. Otherwise, you just get bored of them. There's no way I could drink more than another can of this. I was hoping it wouldn't. Basically, it just tastes like Strongbow. It doesn't really have any. The rosé, maybe if I put it in a glass, it'll be pink. Kind of just sound like the Fall. Again, the Fall's another one of those bands that I'd be interested. It must be mental growing up just now when you've got the ability to just type into YouTube, what does this band sound like? And you will get stuff of it just going with the name. We were just talking about. I know a lot of the music people like drugs, but I mean, never been my thing. I've got Bucky. Bucky is the drug. I know somebody sang Love is the drug, but Bucky's the drug because it's caffeine and alcohol. But good on you, Pontac. Being clean, it's good. I used to smoke the weed years ago, and then I haven't bought any for like 5 years or something. So that counts as something, I suppose. I'm just thankful I never took anything else. I was just lucky enough to see people on speed, sitting there in the corner going, and it's like, what's wrong with you? Taking speed, it's pretty brilliant, like that. I'll be honest, it doesn't look brilliant. It looks like you're sitting there chewing your face off, and then when Ecstasy, E came out, and it was pure. You go up and just listen to the techno, and everyone's sitting there, and it's like, what the speed again is like, no, it's ecstasy. This is E, and it's £25 a tablet. It's like pure brilliant. It's like, they don't look pure brilliant. You look like you're acting like a pure dick, and I hate you, and you're listening to techno rather than Zeppelin. So I split. Me and my pals basically split up about, I don't know, when I was 18 or 19. It was like going around. My pal G was there, and Mole, and the regular great folk. And after a couple of weeks of going around to the main our community pal, the first one they all knew, and they were listening to the techno, and they were taking the E and all that. It was like, a couple of weeks later, I was like, what? Come up to mine tonight. I was like, these were folk I barely knew because they weren't really in my group of friends. I right, come up to mine. And, was like, and then it was like acoustic guitars, playing Zeppelin songs, listening to the Stones, and arguing about heavy metal rather than taking E. So that's basically what happened. And drinking Bucky. Struggle with addiction? No, it's not good. I'm terrified of it. Probably a bit addicted to the weed. Never had a problem with alcohol. I've always been unbelievably careful. I never ever drink alone. I never have, apart from with you lot, which doesn't count as being alone. So I'd say that actually was it week 36, and I think maybe the first few I wasn't drinking in last week. So let's say 33 times in my life I've drank alone, and this doesn't count as alone because you're my pals. Hopefully some of you're drinking as well. Yeah, it just looks like the PV Retro Fire. Could be. There's actually a PV bass I might buy tomorrow, a Milestone bass. It's only 20 quid, and it's in the Coat Bridge, just over there. So it's only 10 minutes drive. If I wasn't doing the stream tonight, I would have gone and got it. I just don't know what to do with it. I'm kind of need to get rid of stuff. Don't worry, Jenny. It's like, what happened was that I said that being clever, this is an old tactic I used to use many years ago. You drink your Bucky till your head starts spinning a bit, which was about 45 minutes ago. And then I moved on to the rosé cider so that I didn't tan the Bucky too quick and get too steaming. But yes, I'm back on the Bucky. That's have to be. Oh, somebody's rolling a joint. I hate you. I've freaking lost my. Alright, so I'm trying not to swear too much. Well, go for it, Mr. One. That's fine. I just got to the point it was too much. Although I do occasionally have to admit that I do get a bit of joint every now and again from people wiring people's guitars. You know, it's like getting like a wee tip, and it's like it's pure brilliant. See when you stopped smoking like 6 years ago, whatever it was, and then you get like a one puff, two puffs of a joint, you're out of it for like 5 hours. It's brilliant, but it can get too much. Jerry, did you have your new song out? I saw a thing saying it was out. I think was it last night it was on, or Friday night, and I was busy. I liked your one with the Show Me the Money. That was cheesy. Cheesy in a good way, of course. And that other one, the one you did before, I've forgotten it now. I'm quite pleased I've forgotten it because I was going through my head for ages. It might have been the Money one. No, it was one before that. But check out Jerry's Son and the Smoking Gun, whose Public Art Group, which is a bit of a wanky sounding name to be honest, but that's him. Oh, Wayne, you get the ultimate thing with your digital injector. That's how we got into baby metal, even though I was so drunk it was pure stupid. Or something like that. And it's like pure drinking Bucky in the queue, because actually outside Hammersmith Odeon, there is a shop immediately across the road that sells Bucky. It was like £11 a bottle, which is twice what we pay here, but got Bucky right there. Because we got to the venue, I'd been up since I got the bus at 10 at night or something like that, thinking I'm going to sleep on the bus on the way down. Didn't sleep a wink. So I was there from, basically I'd been awake for like 48 hours by the time the band came on. We got to the queue and I was up here, oh God, there's a queue. And he's like, do you want to go for a pint? So up here, yeah, we're waiting in this queue. Then we just went across the road. It's like, that shop might sell Bucky, got Bucky in it. We're tanning that in the queue. And it was brilliant. When we got to the front bit, the security guard just took the bottle off me. It was like, up here, right, you lot, and Wayne's up here, two of us are pure blazing. He's like, up here, yeah, I've got, and he shows us like he's got like an insulin thing in the bottom of his arm, and immediately the security guards were like, whoa, no, we're outside, get on you go, 1, 2, yay. So it was great. I don't imagine there's much. I mean, you kind of need to take insulin though. I mean, But I did get us amazing on the upside. Right, I can now get back onto the bucket. On the upside, it got us amazing camping locations at Download Festival. I think, in some ways, I think we ruined it. See, if you just got the diabetes a year later, we would have appreciated much more how good the disabled camping bit is compared to the normal camping bit, because I've seen pictures and heard stories, and it's like, you know, like a pure 20-mile walk through mud this deep to basically just a puddle that you're sleeping in, whereas we're like pure 200 yards away from the main entrance, and it's like there's toilets, and it's like we're on the racetrack. Brilliant. We didn't beer once in a while, it's not too bad. 20 minutes till the Alfred closes. You better go and get, if you don't have a bucket. Yeah, I've never had a problem. I did have a problem smoking though. It was like I would if there was ever a choice ever when I was, I've been saying that, quite proud of myself. I remember not buying weed because I wanted Led Zeppelin 3 and I can't remember what the other album was on record, and I decided that I was meant to be buying £8 bit on a Friday night, and I was coming on Friday afternoon on the way home from uni, and it was like sitting there, it's like I can either smoke weed this weekend or I can buy Led Zeppelin 3 and I think it might have been Deep Purple and Rock, so I bought those two instead. So, and I used to do that all the time, but there was never any problem with weed, with booze. Do you have any 80s Previe practice amps? Right, I don't have any just now. I might have given one to Wayne relatively recently though. You get them, they're made in America. They don't sound great. I've actually got an interesting amp there, which I don't know if you're watching. A guy contacted me last week, says, I've got this Marshall, can you fix my Marshall amp head? And I was like, I don't know anything about amps. Not really, no. Is it a valve one? Because if it's a valve, I'm not looking at it in case I get killed. And then he got back to me and it was like, just what we look at. I was like, well, I don't really know how to fix it. Unless it's a fuse or something. It's like, give it a look. So he dropped it off yesterday, and it was one of the guys I was talking to at the Walstonbury festival. That lovely guy. I was like, I didn't realize it was you. You know, so I got in and fixed it. Yay! Like a Marshall NG100. That actually sounds pretty amazing. It's like, I did a video on Friday of a Friedman amp, and everyone said it sounded brilliant. And it's like, it did sound really good, but it didn't do what my thing at the start was like, could I get away with this instead of like my wee Laney or the Softtech? And the answer was no, because it didn't do clean. But it was pretty good. But the Marshall, it seems awful good. Yeah, check out Dead Pretty now. He's got mouths to feed. Yeah. GSSG band, okay, that's cool. Yeah, check it out. No, it's really good. The last video was brilliant. Got all for the green screen stuff, and it's kind of funny. Don't mind saying it's sort of poppy, maybe a little bit. I can see it being quite popular. No, I can see what you really need is just to manage to get a song that becomes like the intro to Friends or something like that. Whoever it was that did that, something like that. See if you can get that, like pure, yeah, set for life. It'd be amazing. The hippies here. Hippies are cool. But in the 80s, the Coke was a bit of a problem. I don't know. I mean, Coke didn't appear. I wasn't aware. I knew the Stones took it, but I wasn't aware about it until I got to sort of 20 or something like that. And then I started seeing folk and going, how come that guy's a pure dick? And it's like, oh, he's pure full of Coke. It's great. And you're like that. Right. So Coke makes you like that? Right. I'm never taking that ever. Okay. Oh, I should recommend a classic album every week and play some riffs from it, bro. That would be class. Okay, this week it's Caravan in the Land of Grey and Pink, which I've already failed to be able to play. Unfortunately, I've totally bumped that song for one of the ones in Kraken now, so I'll keep playing. I did actually play this one last night. Yeah, no, I mean, I just don't. Coke, I've avoided it like the plague since I realised that quite a lot of people that I kind of, be at parties at somewhere and you go up here, man, what is wrong with this dude? He's a pure dick. And it's like, pure, you come back, you see an hour later, come back in the toilet, right. Avoid. Whereas stoned people and drunk people can be cool. Maybe. But yeah, I'll have a look at maybe doing a classic album every week. Just basically not one anywhere else. It won't be a punk one, because I don't know anything about that. Catch you later, Buster, you away? A PV Studio 40. Don't know enough about PV. I know they do good ones, and I do have a PV Valve King, which I really rate, and it sounds amazing. I was doing a video with Scott the other day, and so I had an amp to play through, and he could play through mine. I just used that, and I was like, pure right, I need to get some sort of pedals to go through it. Just stuck the guitar into it. It just sounds fine. It's like, yeah, I don't need anything more than that wee PV. What's it called? A Royal 8. It's got gain, tone, volume. And it's all valves. It's lovely. This the Coke was a waste, but so you could stay up all night and keep drinking. Fair enough. I don't know. Everyone, the thing is, we're talking about the PV amps. Everyone's got bad experience of PV amps because everybody had one or knew somebody that had one. In my generation, anyway, we're talking about my pal had one. I think it was a 40 watt. Would it be called a TNT? And it was awful. To be fair, I think it was broken. But how do you know these things? I don't think it was working properly, and I think that kind of goes for a lot of things. I was totally, my first bass was a Westone Spectrum, and I thought it was fucking gash. It was terrible. I remember buying a magazine at the time, and Radiohead had was it maybe just when OK Computer came out or something like that, and it was talking to the bass player. The bass player was up here, yeah, I've still got my first bass. It's a Westone Spectrum DX. It's great. And I was like, that's my bass. I only had to think for 3 weeks. But I fucking hated that. But I think the truss rod needed adjusted. It had never had strings changed. The electrics were dirty. It's like it wasn't the bass's fault. I just didn't like the look of it. And I think that happens with PV amps as well. I think quite a lot of them are basically broken. And even the broken can just be dirt in the volume control. That's kind of what happened to that Marshall, the one I've just fixed. The fan was gubbed. The fan had been replaced. It's got like a permanent fan in the back of it, and it's been replaced by like a Chinese computer fan. And basically, when you turn it on, it was just zzz, this noise, and the fan was just gummed up with fluff and crap. So I took the fan out, stripped it all out, put it back in again, so it didn't make that noise. It's still got a fan on all the time, which I would think is a 100-watt amp. So in the studio, that's fine, but you couldn't use it in the house. My Marshall there's got the same problem. It's got a fan in it. So if you're sitting, even if you sit there with the volume control, it's quite an adjustable volume control because it's so big. You can have it so that it's at pure 1%, but there's a fan on, which is kind of, you would hear the fan basically talking just now, so it just gets in the way. I assume Ravens means that it's absolutely awful. It's not a PV amp. I don't know. PV is just another one of those things. If you kind of know what you're looking for, I bet you can get total belters or bargains because the good ones are the same price as the shite ones. Same thing happens. I don't think it happens quite as much. I mean, when I got my BC Rich Japanese guitars, they were the same price as the platinum and the bronze ones. It's like, it's a BC Rich. The wave is different, but I paid 50 quid for the fucking that bitch. Kind of 1983 Japanese bitch. Didn't have any pickups in it. Or I might even not have did it have a Floyd Rose on it? No, we'd be missing the bridge and the pickups, but still 50 quid. And it was like that's cheaper than what you get now. Stag Lots Vintage. I think it's meant to be Stag Not Vintage. I don't think they're the same. We've retracted it. You don't need to retract it. Stag are basically, I think they're JHS, which used to look like the John Player Specials logo, going back a bit. So Stag kind of do everything. But when you get good Stag guitars, definitely. The ones that have got the metal plate on them that say Stag are fine. Is the question Stag or vintage, Jonathan Johnson? Vintage, better. I would say, probably. But you do get good stags. There's a bass that I've been looking for. I've not seen one for years, but I made my 6-string Fender 6 Telecaster bass out of it, and it's horrible shape. It just looks, it's the most boring thing ever. But the neck, the pickup, the bridge, the tuners are all excellent. So basically, if you want to be building a body to make either a 6-string bass or just a normal bass, you know, there's enough room to reshape the headstock. Just pick up one of them. I think I've gone through two or three of them, and they were like 20-30 quid. And you're getting something that's just because it looks pure crap. No one wants that. Oh, I want a P bass. I don't want that completely generic, crappy looking one. But the neck on them are amazing. And unlike the Fender 6, which actually has a thinner nut width than like a Strat, so you get bass strings on like a thinner neck, a thinner fingerboard than a Strat, and there's 6 of them, and they're all much thicker. So when you actually play a real Fender 6 or the Squire version of the Fender 6, the strings are closer together than they are on a guitar, and they're bass strings, so it's like it becomes sort of a bit mental. Whereas the Stag one I'm talking about, which is just a bog standard cheap bass, kind of 80s, 90s modern look, has quite a wide nut on it. So that's when you put the 6 strings on it, it's actually pretty good. I don't know if, I don't think Stag are Stag. Well, there might be some of them that are. I saw some of them. Stag used to be a brand in the 70s, which was like, I assume Stag was like Arbiter, Avon, Rose Morris, etc., where there's like some shop in, I don't know, London or England or Glasgow or something, and they imported Japanese guitars, and it was like Stag was, you know, like a shop in the Midlands or something, but they also moved out a little bit. Samick made some really good, cool guitars. Samick made, I think it's a third of all the electric guitars made in the world in the 90s were made by Samick, because they were making everything. It's like the number of models is pure stupid. They gave up on Hondo, because Hondo were Samick's brand originally. But by the time you get to after the Japanese Hondos, so that's the 80, 81, by the time you get to 82, 83 onwards, you get Samicks that are quality guitars, like proper, basically what you're buying now as a PRSSE or a Schecter Guitar Research, or you know, I think it's that factory. I think they might actually be Samick, but they've changed their names. They knew what they were doing. An Ampeg 2x15 cab. The problem with an Ampeg 2x15 cab, it's the exact same problem I'm having with that. It's obviously really cool, and I've had my use out of it since I moved. Well, that's interesting. I think is everyone on here subbed? Because I think I'm looking earlier on, I was at 2199. So the 2,200th person, if you're on just now and not subbed. I know all you guys though, ex-Paps and Baldino and Jeff. I know you all, so you've all been here before. You know what to expect. You know it's nonsense. Yeah, I mean, just because it's bad for somebody doesn't mean it's not good for somebody else. It depends what you're after. I mean, I was really not into that Friedman amp, and a number of people said it was pure amazing, and it's like, yeah, it did, but I didn't like it. Not for me. I think maybe because I knew it was like 300 quid, and it's like. Greg Bennett designed Samick. Yes, I have a, which I need to sell actually because I'm never going to use it. A Mini Flying V by Greg Bennett. Greg Bennett apparently, unfortunately, died relatively recently. But I run a guitar site called the Washburn, the Golden Era, which is like the Japanese made late 70s, early 80s Washburn, the Wing series and stuff like that. And Billy Rankin, who is a local celebrity in Glasgow, I know him from, used to do rock radio. He was actually in Nazareth for a bit, and he was a Washburn endorsee, and he actually made, if anyone's ever seen these, a 335 type Washburn with a tartan paint job were made for Washburn for him, and he was a proper Washburn endorsee, and the guy that he worked with from Washburn was Greg Bennett. So after that, he must have done his own thing. You get the Mini Flying V. It's great in it. Mine's black as well, yes. And I put a really expensive quads pickup in it. Well, it was an expensive one. Put a quads pickup in it, and I took it back out again and put the original pickup in it because the original pickup was perfect. Yeah. The problem with the Mini Flying V is I don't go anywhere enough to warrant having a portable guitar. Really, I go to download once a year. Well, I haven't been for a couple of years, but I mean, because we're in the disabled campsite, because my pal Wayne there, who's the legend that is Wayne, we're getting the disabled campsite, so we can you can drive the car right up to where you're putting your tent up and then load up really easily, and then so the ability to taking just a normal guitar, just a cheap Strat or something, is no problem at all. So there's no point in having one, really. I didn't think it was that difficult. The scale length isn't that big. It's like 22" or something like that, whereas like a Strat's 20 or a Gibson's 24.5. So it's a bit small, but it's not pure tiny. I did see one for sale for 250 quid though, after I bought mine, because I felt really good. Well, you said, what's it worth? I saw one for sale for 250 that sold on eBay, because it's like a premium model guitar for the kids. It doesn't need to be for the kids, but they are really expensive. Felt a bit guilty. I need to go back to the Barras and talk to my pal Jim, who runs the guitar shop in below the big Barrowland sign. Yeah, what was I going to say there? Yes, but I went in and I saw it, and he wanted. I was up here. What's the wee V? That's quite interesting. And he goes up here. Yeah, 15 quid. And I was up here, right? And I was like, see when you get your Tune-o-matic type tailpiece like this. That was what was on it. It's like it was meant to be like a wraparound tailpiece, and it was just that. So I was like, it's not got the right bridge on it. I'll give you a tenner. So I got it for a tenner. And I felt really guilty about that, because I then went home and saw it over 200 quid. And then when that very same day, I went to Guitar, and they had a Gibson Les Paul Junior with the wraparound bridge, and it was like $6,000 or something. And it literally had that bit. It didn't have like a wraparound bridge. It just had the tailpiece piece. So maybe that's what it's meant to have. There you go, brother. I told you I paid a tenner for it. I haggled them down for 15. I felt really bad about it. I wasn't really expecting anything. I was like, that's a wee silly wee guitar, but it's actually really high quality. I like the Blazer vid with Scott, the 2 cameras and the Ibanez catalogues. Yeah, well, there's another hour. I remembered, when I said when we started it, I was like, right, these are turning out really long. See if I remember after about half an hour, we're going to go, right, cheers YouTube, we'll see you in the next part. But remember to do that. Had a fag break, came back on, and then I forgot to do it. So I think the second half is like an hour and 40 or something like that. So I need to chop that up as well. I've just not done it yet. I think I'm just going to put it out. Seems a bit long to leave it. I'll maybe put it out just during the week or something. Maybe Tuesday night, Friday night or something like that. Good stuff. The Scott's actually away with my Roadster guitar. I don't want to plan these things. That was me using a great idea. I put the screen I'm looking at. I've got like an old crappy telly on the wall there that I can look at, even though it's getting recorded on a computer up there, and that's the main computer screen, which is turned off. Why is that camera on? Yeah, so for some reason that camera's on, which implies that I'm maybe filming my bum the whole time we've been on. It's done now, but I'm not technology brilliant, but good fun. Yeah, no, but to basically see the way to get really cheap guitars is just to keep looking on the local Facebook marketplace, eBay, because things slip through, and just be really good at knowing something. Just things like, things if you don't understand it. I need to look out the wee V. I'm not sure where it is. It's got a wee case. I know that because I eventually managed to find a wee case for it. I could do some Sabbath on it. One of the tricks is if you use slightly longer, slightly thicker strings. I think I put 12s on it, and as soon as you put 12s on it, the tension is the same as a normal guitar, so the open chords work. Get a DI box. I don't know how to do that. I don't want to DI things. Now, the whole reason I started doing the YouTube videos was because I was fed up with folk having pure line recordings, and also videos which were literally just, this bit Just the guitar, and from here of the body, no head, no hello, and that was kind of, I was like, no, when I say I want to see the person that's telling me about it, them to tell me some stuff and to play it, and I want it to sound like what it sounds like if I had it in the room, not if I plugged it into a computer and then processed it. So that's what it is. There would be some sense if I had like an audio interface and maybe if I had a DI box and then run it into the left speaker or something like that. But DI would be good for bass, but I don't think it really make any difference with the guitar, because all the guitar sound I've got comes out the speakers, really. Yeah, my mic is crapping out because it's a live stream. A DI wouldn't make any difference in the live stream. It doesn't sound like this in the normal videos. That's kind of why when I was playing the Yamaha, wherever I put it, the Yamaha SC400 is one of the best sounding guitars. Everyone who's ever seen that in the flesh has offered to buy it off me, basically. There's not really any point. It sounds like I've got phasers and shit on. Something to do with the upload rate or some pish like that. I don't know. Yeah. Many of the 60s guitarists used 12s, 10s were new. Yes, and I think, yeah, the mic craps out. It's not my mic though. It's the YouTube upload stream thing. But I've noticed it ridiculous. I noticed it very much in the after the end video I put up. I mean, we're not talking about high quality audio. We're talking about the audio that comes off my GoPro camera was sick. It sounded like going from record to crappy like MP3 when you put it on YouTube. You don't really hear the guitars well, and it goes face crazy. It does, yes, but that's the streamy thing. Even though I'm using the same mic and the same equipment as I am normally, you can help me out if you know how to do it. It's definitely the stream thing, because it doesn't do the phasey shite and all that when I'm doing, like, if I'm recording. And yes, the YouTube upload compression is pretty bad, but the thing is, I'm not really that bothered when I'm demonstrating a guitar or talking. But when it's the band's performance, it's like, okay, I'm a quarter of the band, but I feel I'm letting down the other three. And I go, like playing it to them and going, yeah, it doesn't sound too bad. Yeah, you do get ridiculous. I'm not using the camera mic, I'm using that Snowball. At least I think I am. Maybe I'm not. Am I getting louder here? Is it this mic I'm talking into? If it's not, then the sound must be absolutely atrocious. But yeah, it doesn't cut in. I mean, the thing is, if you use the mics that are on, the reason I had to buy a mic was for playing the bass, because there was no way of playing the bass and using the mics that are on any of the webcams. They just, as soon as you played anything, it was just pure digital block out. Yeah, Barrow, do you know if I know how to put? So I've got desks. I don't have a USB desk. I've got plenty of shit. I'm not really that computer savvy. It would be nice. I'd love to be able to record in stereo. And okay, having a DI would be nice, but I don't want to end up going into having to go back over it and using a lapel mic and all that shit. Whereas just now, not for the live, it doesn't work so well for the live. But in the normal videos, I can sort of play the guitar, and it kind of sounds like it does in the room, and I can talk. If I stop playing, I can talk without having to switch between the two, because all these things just, I don't know. Yeah, the limit. I definitely think the limiter somewhere. I don't know if I've even got an option to set the YouTube thing. I'm aware that when you're doing the YouTube thing, it's kind of, sometimes it's like, see, when you see it depends what kind of video it is you're watching. Obviously, if you're watching like a pro level video, you're someone who gets paid for it, like your shells who get given pedals by people to do reviews, they've got really high quality audio. Or if you go to see someone who does like computer games or something, because they're into computer games, they're really good at it. Whereas not very many folk like me know how to do that stuff. you got to make that up that amp, run it through Pro Tools and stand in front of a fan. Yes, I get it. I get it. It's just one of those things that I wouldn't be able to do the number of videos I did. If I spent time on it, I could probably put out a quality video once a week. And it's like, I'd rather just put crappy sound out than... Yeah, you can hear the quality bar and I don't know, it depends what you're doing. All right, Frank, when are you going to show the rest of your set from last week? Right, tell you what I'll do. How will I do that? The thing is, I talked to the band for the Black Sabbath band. We kind of don't want it all to go out, but I will give you a link to watch it. It'll be an unlisted one, so it's not for everybody, but it's for you lot. That's fine. If it was a bit cleverer, I could put it into this. I will put it in the link for this video, like in the description. Once I've done this, I will put the Black Sabbath set in there, because then it's not on general release. It's just for you lot, and that's great. I actually was talking about what the set was earlier on. I forgot about it. So it was like normal tuning, Black Sabbath, NIB, Fairies Wear Boots, change bass onto my Aria TSB, and then it's Tomorrow's Dream, A National Acrobat, Into the Void, and then Rob was we cut it a bit short, so we back off that, back onto normal tuning for War Pigs and Paranoid. But I have to apologise a little bit. Next time I see the Sabbath band in the studio, I was like, no, we have to play the obscure album tracks because everyone will love that. If I was going to see a Black Sabbath band and they played A National Acrobat and Into the Void, I'd be like, yes. But this wasn't it wasn't a gig under our own rights. It was just a party sort of thing that we were happy to be the headliners, and everyone was singing along with Black Sabbath, singing along with NIB, kind of unsure about Fairies Wear Boots, and then for the two National Acrobat, the two best songs that we played, the pure obscure album tracks, kind of fitted away a bit, and then they were back for War Pigs, everyone singing. So basically, instead of that, we should have put in like Iron Man and well, we were meant to play Children of the Grave, but we never did. Playing the sort of hits that would have gone down more. Sorry, Neil, did we get off? It's not, but I did buy it because it looks like the Doctor Who one, the Yamaha SC. Oh, I'm not getting caught up. Yeah, but I did because I want to hear the quality guitars. Yeah, I get it. It was just like, I'm not an effectsy person, so basically the way I'm playing, I'm just playing through an amp with sod all on, maybe distortion or fuzz, but nothing else in a room with that mic, which I think sounds like what it does. I'm kind of used to it rather than it going through Pro Tools and all that, so it sounds like it's a computer. If you're buying a tele kit, what would you pick for your body? I don't know, to be honest. I probably wouldn't buy a tele kit. If I'm straight up there, I would buy a tele and modify it myself, or I would try and I would buy the neck and the parts. The thing about a tele kit is, I've had a few of them, and I've bought them for like a tenner. I bought one for a tenner because people think, oh, buy a kit, that'll be great. You really need to know what you're doing to assemble a kit. It's not like Lego. I think it might be, see if you buy like a Warmoth body and a Warmoth neck, a couple £100 a pop, that might fit on and be perfect. But a kit that you're picking up for 150 quid, you've still got to do shims and work out stuff and make it fit, and there's an awful lot more to it. It's much better going on Gumtree, instead of spending 150 quid on a kit, spend 100 quid on buying two tellies or something, and then make them good to learn how to play, learn how to do the stuff and work it in. Yeah, but got the Yamaha SC Neon. Yes, it was Peter Capaldi came on, and he's from Bishopbriggs, like 2 miles away over there, and Scottish Doctor. He was amazing. I couldn't follow some of his episodes, were too confusing for me. I need to watch them again. And he had an SGV, it's called, which is the same headstock as that, and it's got scratch plates on it. It's like the SGV originally came out in the 60s, and they look stunning. They're always orange and yellow, and they look amazing. But they're £1,000 or something. And that, if I was ever going to buy an expensive guitar, one of them could be a 60s Yamaha SGV. That one's getting towards the same sort of shape. It's got the same headstock, but it was a Europe only model, but it's like a really, I'm going to dig it out again because it really is. It's just when you've got a guitar that every time you ever show anyone to, they always ask you whether you're selling it, like before they even hear it. This thing is a stunner. It's not really up. I always thought it looked upside down. It's not really, but it's a belter of a guitar. So there's two in the range. There's this one. This is a 400, and there's a 600, which is through neck. But the thing I don't like about the 600 is they put the Strat body carb on it, and this is a fancy wood cap. So when you put the Strat carb on it, you get the line, and it looks like, see when you see someone who's decided they were going to try and sunburst their plywood Strat, kind of looks like that. So this is the one I would go for, even though it's set neck rather than yeah. But I mean, I hear what you're saying about trying to up the sound, but I don't think you could ever get it any better with whatever uploading system I'm using, unless there's something I'm missing. The coil taps are just immense. Sounds like an acoustic. Like it sounds more like an acoustic than guitars I've got with pieces stuck in them. Yeah, Baldino, if you want to come up and help me do that, that's fine. Assuming I don't need to buy a USB desk. I've got a couple of wee desks around because, like, I don't know, I'm just not good enough at. The problem is with PCs. I remember when I first got a PC, it was all DOS and all that shit. So basically, here's a game. Here's 3 days of trying to make it play, and I just end up hating stuff. I don't know, my pal Dava keeps telling me to try and get up to put the picture up to 4K. I'm now in HD, and it's like, I don't have a 4K telly, so I can't watch it, but it's not, I don't really feel we're really seeing anything. You are looking at a dude sitting in a tiny room playing guitars. Okay, I suppose you could get like I could maybe put in the sort of trolley shots where you run the camera past the guitar on the desk to actually see it, but you kind of see it. Enough of it to know that it's damn cool. Cheapo USB. Cheapo sounds good. I do Streaming Professor, and I have a 4-channel mixer DI box, a 48 power. I've actually got the mics for it as well. I've got that stuff. I don't know how to plug the bastard into the computer. I've got a few desks as well. I've got like a Mackie 16 track, a Mackie 8 track, and I can't remember what the other one is. It's like a wee mini one. I used to have like 10 synthesizers set up in my last house. It was just like shelves of synths, even though I can't really play synth. Had them all set up. Had some great fun playing about with them. And Matthias jabs, that'd be cool. The 4K, does the 4K not up the sound? Because I remember the big difference when I went HD, like when I got whatever webcam it was that went HD, there's a massive difference in the sound quality when you go to HD. Forget the actual video, because the video doesn't, not really that matter. It's obviously it's not the best. You couldn't even see him or the band, and we were sure he was playing. Yeah, see that's why I didn't put the whole video of that out. I'll stick it in the if you come back to this, or maybe tomorrow night's video, I'll stick it up so you lot can watch it. I just don't want it out there so that people are maybe trying to hire the band to type in after they end Glasgow, and they get like a 40-minute security cam footage thing, because basically it was just audio. I didn't really think about it if I'd been cleverer. The thing was, I just didn't want there not to be a record of the gig. See if someone had done that and then I had another camera. I've got like a rubber thing that sticks to your head, puts a camera on. If there was somebody else doing the GoPro thing I was doing, I would have got somebody to wear the hat so there was a video to go with it. But next year, it'll be outside because it won't get cancelled, so it'll be an outside gig. And I think after the end, might get asked to headline again because we're pretty fucking good. And this time we'll be playing the greatest hits: Iron Man, Children of the Crave, you know, Paranoid, all of those ones. Which I guess we were sitting in this. Yeah, that's it there. Yeah, totally. It's just the same room. It's basically I use the camera that's sitting on top of the. You can't see it because it's behind that, and I moved that mic so it's here, pointing us. Yeah. I was sure there's better ways of doing it, but it was just quite handy. So I moved this thing down there, and I was trying to do some. Yeah. Hey, Dabba. Yeah, how's it going? I was talking to you earlier on. Actually, I meant to ask. I wasn't until after I'd done the video with Scott. So you did. Do you still, or you did have a Roadster with the thing with bridge on it? You haven't talked about it for ages, but I seem to remember a couple of years ago you talking about it. I wish I'd thought about it before I did the video. But yes, you can make up handy guitar, sort of. Hey, Joachim, we are Ibanez 550, which I'll get one. Half sober Sunday here as well. Lost in all my last year's Harley Benson's bass. Have to sneak the packages at home. My girlfriend noticed. You buy another guitar. Yeah, well, there's ways around that. I've heard several stories about how you get around it. What you do is you buy every guitar you buy, right? You buy it in red with a white scratch plate, so that your girlfriend / wife sees it and goes like that. Oh, I don't remember that guitar. So I've heard stories of people who've got like a Strat and a Telly and a Jazzmaster and a P Bass and a Jaguar, all red with white scratch plates, so his wife doesn't realise he's got more than one. The best story I ever heard was with Wayne, actually. His wife's lovely. It's like fun with her. It's like she obviously knows. All wife knows what they're doing. And he bought we were talking about the Grant Yoshi earlier on, and he got a second one. Yeah, I got him one, and he didn't want to admit, so I sent him a thing. I picked it up for him. First time I'd met him, picked it up for him in Glasgow. He gave me the money for it. I paid for it, put it in a cardboard box and sent it to him. And then it was like surprise gift for Wayne, the ugliest guitar I've ever seen. So his wife found that and gave it to him. I was like, oh look, Malcolm sent you this guitar. I was like, only cost 20 quid. It didn't. So we got away with that. And then a year later or 2 years later, he bought a 2 pickup version. This was a single pickup one. And he was smuggling it back into the house, and he got caught by Shell. And she was like, up here, oh, I didn't know you still had that guitar. And he was like, up here, yeah. And he was immediately onto the phone, onto the text me, like, up here, Shell saw me picking the new guitar, and she thought it was the one pickup one, pure win. So he totally got away with having 2, and she thought it was the same one. But Shell's lovely and knows exactly what he's doing. Catch you later, Frank. Dabba, you've got an RS 440. Damn it! I knew you had one at one point. I didn't think about it at the time though. But the thing is, I just remember telling it's like, see if you were into golf or gambling or going to the pub, all more expensive than guitars. And if you know what you're doing, you're kind of faffing about. You can be picking up guitars and you just buy them for less. You know that you can sell them. Pretty much every guitar I've got, I know that I could put it on eBay or Facebook Marketplace for what I paid for it, and it'll sell in 10 minutes. Every single one. I'll be able to make a fair amount if I give it a couple of days for every single one. So it's not like going to the pub where it's like, oh, how much did you spend in the pub? 60 quid. Gone. How much did you spend on a guitar? 60 quid. Oh, what's it worth now? Well, at least 60 quid. So it was good. No, my favourite meme is a guy, lying with his girlfriend on the side, and he's like kind of lying there, obviously thinking about something, and she's sitting there going, up here, the bastard, he's thinking about another woman, and he's sitting, and what the guy's actually thinking about when he's up here. If I run the tube screamer before the first pedal, will that give me more richer harmonics? It's that kind of thing. Yeah, but it's just like, if you're not expensive things, and you maybe sell them on, and it's like, I don't know. There's definitely fun to be had with no money, and you can still buy awesome guitars. Obviously, if you're a dentist or a lawyer or something, you can buy you know, like a PRS or a, you know, like a 58 reissue relict Les Paul and all these things, but neither of those things is as interesting as this. Arguably, is there a better guitar than this? Like, actually better? And the answer is no. There are some guitars you can get where you can argue that you can't really get any better. Quite a few of them like this, or even like my SG Special. Can you get better than that? Yeah, you can get one with binding and a nicer, like a translucent finish. All right. So does the binding and the translucent finish and the metal covers and the pickups make it better than? Oh, it does make it better. No, it doesn't. There you go. Try to buy an Epphone Thunderbird. I don't know. The Epphone Thunderbirds are fine. You just gotta get used to it. Catch you later, Neon. I'm going to give up anyway. It's been 2.5 hours. I've almost finished my bucky. I've got a fry up I'm going to give up. Two Screamer first. Yeah, it was a bad example. Ideally you want fuzz pedal first. Bowman box again. No, love it's just something from the garden or something from Germany. I have no idea. But the advantage of buying things. Oh, see, I think one of the reasons pedals are so popular is because, let's just be super fucking sexist here, fuck it. I'll be racist later, but sexist just now. You can buy pedals, have a whole drawer full of pedals, and your other half doesn't need to know because it's just a pedal and it's like they all just look the same. So that's kind of like sneaky because you can get like a post, you know, like a wee box like that, whereas a guitar, quite a lot of the time, it's quite obvious it's a guitar you've bought in it. What's that guitar-shaped box? It's, and you unless you've got something really clever that's a similar sort of length, like a garden spade, maybe. I think they're a bit longer. Hey, Jez, thanks again. Thanks. You keep giving me money. I feel really guilty. I need to plug you. You don't have a channel. If I could plug you a little bit, I'll do that. Amazing. Hey, Kevin, you did make it. You said you were working tonight. Pedals are easy to sneak in at home. Yes, but also the other thing I heard about pedals is, say you want the best pedal, right? The best, just the best. Not that expensive. Not compared to, oh, I want the best guitar. The best guitar. How much does the best, you know, like a pure premium guitar? It's like, even if you go into, you know, guitar, I mean, there's guitars on there for 10 grand and stuff. No problem. Same with amps. There's amps you can spend 10 grand on an amp, no problem. On a pedal, the really, really expensive ones, okay, apart from a Klon or something, you know, you're talking about £200-300, gets you the strummings and all that, the pure top tier. So for £200-300, you can get that, and you can have the best something. I mean, for $6.99, you can have the best alcohol, the best liquid in the world. Jess, you do have a channel. Right, check out Jess's channel. We'll stick that in the thing down below. Fred will try sneaking women into the house. Right, put them in a guitar case. I would never do anything like that. Don't worry, Moth Codes. That's like that. That's never happening. Actually, you're saying there about sort of smuggling women into the house. It was another channel you should check out is Roxy's guitar channel. He's pretty cool. He did a thing that was up here, yeah. So he's like, I'm asking the questions that I always get asked. Yes, it is my real hair. No, I don't dye it. Yes, I am married. So sorry. So basically, ladies, it'll have to be at your house. Okay. He's obviously quite maybe his girlfriend, his wife, doesn't watch the YouTube thing, or more likely has put up with him for 20 years and just all his jokes are just like. You have 5 pedals in your chain. What are they? You get more than 5 pedals. If I had to run pedals, I'm actually going to start using my Washburn stack in a box, because somebody recently said he was roadieing for Nazareth, and it was what was Manny's rig, and Manny's rig was basically a Washburn stack in a box and the amp. So I've got that, and also Manny used a Washburn Falcon. basically what I need is I'm getting quite used to having the fuzz pedal now. I need a nice ampy sounding overdrive because I use the loop pedal, so I need the amp has to be clean. So the one I'm using for that is a Joyo US Dream, which kind of sounds a bit like the drive channel on my amp. And then after that, I've got a black rat, which I never use. I've got the twin note fuzz, which is kind of sort of modern fuzz, and then I've got the Delamo fuzz, which is like a sort of Hendrixy one. And basically, my entire pedal chain would be the Joyo US Dream, the two different types of fuzz pedal, and a loop pedal, and then the other pedal will be a tuner. So there you go. When I bring a guitar home, my wife is genuinely interested. She might be pretending to be genuinely interested just because she loves you. No, my girlfriend's fine with the guitars as well. It's like the thing that just keeps going back to my pal Wayne when he's trying to. There was one point he was going over to his pal's house with a guitar case with his guitar in it, and he would bring back another guitar. Shell knew the whole time, and I'm sure used it to her advantage, going like, "You're taking the bins out yet?" And he's like, "You're guilty." I was like, "I'm sure." And even then, there's a whole sneaking about and being sneaky because you're stealing money. You're not. You've bought a £50 guitar or a £100 guitar. Really? You know what I mean? It's like I can talk for hours about shoes and guitars. I go over for dinner. Yeah, distortion's the Joyo US Dream's a distortion pedal. I'm not really that into shoes. Right now, I'm afraid. My girlfriend refuses to buy anything other than the newest Nike or Jordans at £200 a pop. Saw a great cartoon. This guy from back in the shops, a Les Paul hanging on his shoulder, a Marshall on his arm, dragging a cab behind him. Sorry. Yeah. I think it's just the money thing has got to come into it. And okay, I can understand you're taking up too much space, but there must be a point where it's like, what are you doing? And it's like, I've seen a meme before as well, and it's like you're coming in, and it's like the wife coming in, and the guy sitting on his laptop, and it's like pure fucking Fender Stratocasters again. Why can't you just look up porn like normal men? And it's like, it is porn. Shoes. Basically, joking, what you want is worky boots for doing all those things. For walking about the house, you want sort of soft. And basically, do what I do and buy the ones that you recognise from films. These were the ones that were kind of similar to the ones in Terminator 2. Terminator 1. I bought those. I didn't know exactly. Yeah, I think that's about time to cut it out. Thanks very much, everyone. I was on the booze again this week. To be honest, I was a bit thinking that it doesn't really seem to make that much difference whether I'm drinking or not. Not to me anyway. It's fun. I was on the booze last night, but not that much. You don't wear trainers? Oh, that's all I wear. I just like the 80s basketball boots, which you can occasionally get. It doesn't interest me now. The clothes. Don't really give a fuck. I mean, I understand that people are into it. I don't understand. It's like, oh, I like that jumper. All right, does it say Black Sabbath on it, and is it warm? That's all it needs to be. Okay, so thanks everyone. I will put how can I do that? I might be able to do it. I'll try once I've hung up. I'll try and put the link to the Black Sabbath after the end gig in the comments. So if you just hang on just now for 2 seconds, I will work out how to do this before I give up. I should probably just end it first, but I must be able to open another. Hold on, here we go. We'll work this out. No, I can't leave the site. I can't. It'll have to be in the description once it's put up. I'll put the link for the Sabbath gig in the description where you get all the songs. Rock on, love you all, and Sunday nights back for drinking the buck. Catch you later. Cheers.